guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am supremely upset about something. I'll tell you all in about approximately 20 minutes. Supremely upset. Should we just get on with today's video? So I was looking up worst rated Colleen Hoover books, and this seemed to come up quite frequently on Reddit, on Goodreads. So I looked at the 1-star reviews on Goodreads, and someone mentioned that Syrian refugees were in this book called Without Merit. So I couldn't help myself. I was like, yes, I want to see Colleen Hoover's take on the Syrian refugee crisis. So here we are. Should we just get into it? Remember to like, comment, subscribe. I can't focus right now. I can't focus right now on anything that isn't my script. So in a minute. Oh, so unhappy. Ooh, like, comment, subscribe. Instagram, TikTok. Follow I have a Goodreads account that I don't even control. Follow me on there. New book release soon. I'm going for it. Should we just get through it? Chapter one. Let's just get through the next 3 to 4 hours of filming, shall we? This video is partnered with Love and Deep Space, the ultimate 3D dating simulation. As a new installment of the popular Mr. Love series, Love and Deep Space is an engaging first-person story with a semi-realistic, personalized 3D experience filled with immersive cutscenes, storylines, interactions, charismatic love interests, and much more. The latest event centers around Caleb, the fifth fitty in L&D, a fighter pilot with a fancy-looking mecha suit. To be honest, I love Caleb so much, especially with his new storyline. We are just such a perfect fated CP. Especially this moment, I'd call it Kiss of the Apocalypse. After all, this is Caleb's first kiss. We finally kissed. Speaking of Caleb's new outfits, I really didn't expect the mecha design in a dating game to be this good. I have to say, the developers put a lot of effort into creating such an immersive romantic experience for the player, especially Caleb's magnificent mech suit and breathtaking super wings. It's just so cool. So make sure you download the game for the Caleb event, which includes a shop item update, new event storyline, daily giveaways, new Deep Space trial stages, and much more. Download the game using the special link in my description to get your own Deep Space boyfriend. Thank you, Love and Deep Space, for partnering with today's video. This book is dedicated to one of Coho's darling angel boys who, you know, if they had any sense, they'd be ashamed of this. But yes, anyway, chapter 1. I have an impressive collection of trophies that I did not win. This is the fastest that I have not cared about something. My stolen trophy is probably my least favourite one. I took it from Drew Waldrop's bedroom right after he broke up with me. We had been dating for 2 months, so it was the first time I had allowed him to put his hand all the way up my shirt. I was thinking about how nice it felt when he looked down at me and said, "I don't think I want to date you anymore, Merritt." There I was, enjoying his hand on my boob, and all the while he was thinking of how he never wanted his hand on my boob ever again. I stoically slid out from under him and stood up. After straightening out my shirt, I walked over to his bookshelf and snatched the biggest trophy he had. He never said a word. I figured if he dumped me with his hand up my shirt, I should at least get a trophy for it. Really, Hoover, you're just going to throw me straight into this nonsense and not even prep me beforehand? No foreplay? No lube? Typical. Also, yes, the female main character's name is indeed Merit. Do I get merits for reading this, Coho? Is it like stamps for coffee? On the 10th stamp, I get my own sex offender MMC? Anyway, she gets trophies for herself whenever she feels bad. I think this is literally what boomers think participation trophies mean. I grabbed the trophy and turned to walk towards the register when I noticed a guy on the second floor of the antique store. He's leaning over the railing, staring at me. His chin is resting casually in one of his hands like he's been in that position for a while. He smiles as soon as we make eye contact. I smile back, which is a bit out of character for me. I'm not the type to flirt, and I'm definitely not the type to know how to reciprocate when someone flirts with... She said that exact same sentence like several chapters later. You can't with this mind, Coho. A page ago, some chump had his hand up your bra. Don't give me that chaste innocence rubbish. I think I might like his smile, but he's a little too far away for me to tell if I'd be attracted to him. His confidence is attractive in itself. He has dark hair and it's a bit choppy and... I can't say that word. The editors were asleep for this one, were they, Coho? Does that word just mean something a bit different in America? Like when someone likes a person because they're filled with spunk? Maybe he works here and that's why he's lingering, but it wouldn't explain why he won't stop staring at me. If this is his idea of flirting, it's a strange way to flirt. I'm trying to work on my posture. It means I'm going to have to shout louder to get in the... I should get one of the... Oh, I feel rubbish. I feel bloated. I'm upset. Anyway, if this is idea of flirting, it's a strange way to flirt. But sadly, I'm attracted to unconventional and strange, so the entire time I browsed the store, I forced myself to seem unaffected, when in reality, I'm very affected. I can feel his stare of every step I take. Stares shouldn't have weight, but knowing his eyes are on me makes my steps feel heavier. It even makes my stomach feel heavier. Why is this writing more immature than usual? This came out in 2017. I think actually, in retrospect, because there's no real sex scenes in this, I think this is meant to be a young adult book. And that's why it's immature. But then if it is a young adult book, the stuff that goes on in this, wild. Anyway, she's still in school. She's a senior, whatever that is, and her school is small. And she's not attracted to anyone at school, probably because they aren't older men who will inevitably prey on her. But I have no idea who this guy is that's made me the centre of his attention, which means I'm already more attracted to him than any person in my entire school, simply because I don't know him. What amazing insight for a 17-year-old. I pause on an aisle that's clearly visible from where he's standing and I pretend to be interested in one of the signs displayed on the shelf. It's an old white sign with the word shaft written on it and an arrow pointed to the right. It makes me laugh. Next to it is an old sign that looks to be from a gas station. It says lubricant. It makes me wonder if someone placed the sexually suggestive signs together or if it was just random. I just know that Coho was cackling, wine drunk, tapping away at her keyboard as she wrote this. She has a little brother called Moby, just so you know. There's some boring stuff. She leaves to go home. There are also 2 bathrooms the city had installed a few years back. They're 2 glass structures that look like a tall cube of mirrors from the outside, but when you're inside the bathrooms you can see out. It's disturbing that a person could be sitting on the toilet doing their business while watching cars drive by. It's like the Shard. But I'm drawn to unusual things, so I'm one of the few who probably take pride in the strange bathrooms. The bathroom ain't gonna pick you, babe. The guy from the antique store has followed her and he's definitely attractive. He's still smiling at me like he was from the railing in the antique store. It makes me wonder if he smiles all the time. I hope not. I like the thought that maybe he's smiling at me because he can't help it. Have we broken a Hoover record for the quickest insta-love? We're like 6 pages into this. Every time I sigh, I'm actually saying like a way harsher swear word. So... I walk over to the concrete fountain that really isn't a fountain at all. It's a section of concrete flat on the ground in the shape of a star. The water comes out of holes around the star and spits towards the centre. I press my foot over one of the holes and wait for the water to reach me. It's the last week of October, so it's too cold for kids to be playing in the water like they usually are in the summer. But it isn't too cold to get my feet a little wet. I like when the water hits the bottom of my feet. And since I can't afford to get a pedicure, it's the next best thing. I do not care about your foot fetish, Coho. How would you like it if I crammed... Who cares? I crammed my daddy kink everywhere, any opportunity, get lost. I glance at his arm now to get a closer look at the tattoos. I was right, they're only on his left arm. His right arm doesn't have a single visible tattoo on it, but the tattoos on his left arm aren't what I expected. They're random and unrelated and none of them connect. One of them is a tiny toaster with one slice of bread sticking out of it. It's on the inside of his wrist. I can see a safety pin near his elbow. The words, "Your turn, doctor," are sprawled across his forearm. What is this, a Penelope Douglas novel? Out of all the places we could be, we're right here at the same time. His voice is laced with amusement, but his expression verges on bewildered. He shakes his head and steps closer to me. He reaches his tattooed arm up and slides his fingers down a strand of my hair that's come loose. The gesture is intimate and unexpected, kind of like this whole moment. Bro, you've just met and she's still in high school. His eyes drop to my mouth and I'm certain he's about to kiss me. I hope he is, which is odd because I've literally only spoken a couple sentences to him, but I want him to kiss me while I'm imagining him to be perfect because that means his kiss would probably be perfect too. My head is tilted back and his mouth is inches from mine, as if he's hesitating. He smiles and whispers, "You bury me." Bury me instead. They kiss a whole whopping 10 pages in. Unreal. I was right. It's perfect. So perfect it feels like the old days in movies when the male lead would press his hand against the woman's back and she would curve her body backwards against the pressure of his kiss like the letter C while he pulls her against him. It's just like that. How is her writing worse than usual? Is she doing this on purpose or am I just giving her too much credit? I'm going to play a guessing game of when the Syrian refugee crisis comes into things. Maybe this guy is the refugee. Maybe it's the girl. Maybe the real refugees are the friends we made along the way. Imagine fleeing the turmoil in Syria and then having Coho write about you. How do I call the Geneva Convention? She doesn't even know how old he is, and neither he her. And just like in the movies, my arms are dangling at my sides until I realize how much I want to be in this with him and finally begin to kiss him back. He tastes like mint ice cream and it's perfect because this moment ranks high on my scale of favorites, right up there with dessert. This is almost comical. This stranger kissing me as if I were the last thing left on his bucket list. It makes me wonder what compelled him to do this. Someone get the Coho bingo list out and tick off their XYZ is now my favorite thing. Also, this teenager would be so easy to lure into a van. Anyway, they kiss as the fountain sprays them with water. How indie rom-com. So he followed her from the shop and randomly kisses her. And she's just like, this is fine. This is great, actually. Coho isn't even trying to keep these based in any sort of reality anymore. And then I said, get lost, actually get lost. No, F off, flip off. So his phone goes off as they're kissing and he answers it confused and is like, you're standing in front of me to the person calling him. Flip off. This is the quickest I've had enough of a story, I think. Merritt has a twin sister. She was snogging her twin sister's boyfriend. And her twin sister is called Honor. It all makes sense now. This wasn't some random connection between two strangers. This was him mistaking me for his girlfriend and me being a complete fool for not immediately realising what was happening. And you're just an idiot for going along with it. Merritt, Honor laughs. What's going on? Why are you a Sagan? Sagan? Even his name is perfect. Nah, you're taking the piss, bruv. She swears Sagan to secrecy. Bet they have an affair. Bet I won't care. Chapter 2. I wanted it all. I wanted to feel everything. That unexpected kiss that made me feel alive for the first time in... Actually, I'm not sure I've ever felt this way. You are 17. Allow it, fam. Just hang around outside literally any bar at night. You'll receive plenty of unsolicited sexual attention. My head was in my hands when I was reading this next bit, which is confusing because he seemed to be healthy, not Honor's type normally. Honor, wait, I say before she ends the call. What? Is something wrong with Sagan? What do you mean? You know, are you with him because... Is he dying? Really giving it my all with the... Right, how long are we into this? No, I'll give it some time. It's quiet for a moment, but then I can hear the irritation in her voice. Do you reckon I could be a voice actor? Sorry, I am... I literally finished this script earlier today, so like I've had enough of it. And... Is this the quickest that I've gone off topic? Do you reckon I could do a bit of voice acting enough if I obviously, like, you know, paid a professional to teach me how to do inflections, do all that kind of stuff? Like, because I don't really watch when other people do these types of videos, because why would I? But I've watched a few of Rachel's. Why would I watch other people's content? I'm not on YouTube to give anyone else views. I rewatch my own content. Where was I going with that? Some variation of why I am better than everyone else on this platform, I'm sure. Do you know what? Fill in the blank yourself. But do you reckon I could do some voice acting? Would anyone want that though? I think my voice is really annoying. I don't think it can decide what it wants to be, because sometimes it's got like this southern kind of, ooh, posh are we? Go to Mayfair, darling, accent. And then sometimes it's like, have you seen those TikToks of that guy who's like what the different parts of London would do in XYZ situation, and South London's always like furthermore, yeah. I'm either literally South London or Mayfair. That's nothing to do with anything, because if I acted, what am I talking about? I'm upset. I'm upset. Nothing's actually wrong, by the way. I'm just being really dramatic. Anyway, so yeah, let me know. Do you reckon I could do voice acting? Who would actually want me to do voice acting though? No one wants me. Pity, innit? Because I would like to collaborate and do more stuff for people, but no one likes me. Is it because I'm just so incredibly hostile, confrontational, unlikable? Is it these things? Because I'm not going to work on myself and change those things, because like, why should I? I'm answering my own question. Shall we just get on with it? But then I can hear the irritation in her voice when she says, Jesus, Merritt, of course not. You can be a real bitch sometimes. The line goes dead. I look down at the phone. I wasn't trying to insult her. She was. I'm genuinely curious. No, you're not. If that's why she's dating him. She hasn't had a single boyfriend with an average lifespan since she started dating Kirk at 13. She's still heartbroken over the way that relationship left her feeling like she was choking on scar tissue. Kirk was a nice farm boy. He drove a tractor, baled hay, knew how to flip an electric breaker, and once fixed the transmission of a car that my father couldn't even fix himself. Really? Sure. About a month after we turned 15 and 2 weeks after Honor lost her virginity to Kirk, his father found Kirk lying on the ground in the middle of their pasture, semi-conscious and bleeding. Kirk had fallen off the tractor, which ran over him, injuring his right arm. Although the injury wasn't life-threatening, while receiving treatment for the injury, the erudite doctors sought answers as to why Kirk might have fallen off the tractor to begin with. Right, none of you say anything about that noise that just came out my mouth, yeah? Yeah, furthermore. Oh, God. The other week I was with my friend and we were going through like a Tesco's car park or whatever, and this salt spreader just came like swinging around the corner and all this salt like grit sprayed at us. And she's definitely like more girly, like traditionally feminine, shall I say, of the two of us. And she went, ugh, and I went, ah! And she was like, I've known you for 20 years and I've never heard that sound come out of your voice. Anyway, I'm embarrassed now. I'm going to blush. Shall we just move past that swiftly? No, furthermore, right. I would actually love to collaborate and do more stuff with people that I actually like, but that's literally only like 5 people on this platform. So it's a very specific list. But you also never know who could be watching your video. If anyone wants to collab with me, who is also a content creator, like go around London and try vegan burgers or something, I'll be so down for that. I could murder a vegan burger right now, ironically. Or if anyone would want to do like a ghost hunting, because I want to, not ghost, actually no, I don't mess with ghosts. I've threatened this, haven't I? I like how it's always threats. It's never just, I've put this thought out there. No, I'm threatening you guys with a good time. I want to do the alien hunting documentary at some point. Documentaries. I want to do an 8-part series. With what money? Who knows? And if there's any other content creator out there, then I don't have any of my... I've got an email. Email me, any content creators, yeah? I have more subscribers than me, so I can siphon some followers off you. I don't know. I think I'm a bit creatively stifled. I think I want to be social again. God. Innit? Anyway, where were we? So, yeah, this boy died. The erudite doctors sought answers as to why Kirk might have fallen off the tractor to begin with. Turns out Kirk had suffered a seizure as the result of a tumour that had been growing in his brain, possibly since infancy, said the doctor. Kirk lived 3 more months. The entire 3 months he lived, my sister rarely left his side. Honor was the first and last girl he loved, and the last person Kirk saw before taking his final breath. Honor developed an unhealthy affliction as a result of her first love dying from a tumour that had been growing in his brain, possibly since infancy. You're just repeating yourself, babe. You already said that. Honor found it almost impossible to love any boy after who was of average health and normal lifespan. She spends most days and nights in online chat rooms for the terminally ill, falling madly in love with boys who have an average life expectancy of 6 months or less. Although our town is a bit small to provide Honor with an ample supply of ailing suitors, Dallas is less than a 2-hour drive away. With the number of hospitals devoted to terminal illnesses, at least 2 boys have been within driving distance to Honor. During their last few weeks on Earth, Honor spent their remaining days by their sides, determined to be the last person they saw and the last girl they loved before their final breaths. It's actually not quite like that. She's just being incredibly cynical and mean. But still, Coho, what's going on now, babe? Merritt has a brother called Utah. Colleen Hoover tried to give characters normal names challenge impossible. Utah doesn't like spontaneity. Despite the common phrase, Utah does not expect the unexpected. He expects only the expected. He does not like the unexpected. Filling up that word count early. Are we, champ? It wouldn't be Coho without endless, needless repetition. There's already been some, but I wonder which the true stock phrase in this book will be. He didn't like it when our parents divorced several years ago. Who does? I bet Honor loved it. It was like someone dying. I can say with certainty that we live in the most unusual house in this whole town. I say house because it's certainly not a home. And inside this house are 7 of the most unusual occupants. No one would be able to determine from the outside of our house that our family of 7 includes an atheist, a homewrecker, an ex-wife suffering a severe case of agoraphobia, and a teenage girl whose weird obsession borders on necrophilia. No. Not an atheist? Oh, the horror! Coho's writing career alone proves there's no God. Or it proves there is a God, but he's entirely malevolent. There's pages of shit about her dad not liking the neighbour's dog. Pages. Also, Merritt lives in an old church because, sure, He chose to name the house Dollar Voss because the church is divided into 4 quarters and our last name is Voss. I wish there were a more intelligent explanation. Yeah, me too. Anyway, there's 4 kids living in this house. Dad, stepmom, and biological mum lives in the basement. Stepmom and biomum are called Victoria. It's like Ron Swanson in Parks and Rec with his 2 Tammy wives. My father's love for the current Victoria Voss was not so much a rebound relationship, but rather more of an overlap. So he cheated. And even though he goes, I did, we'll get there, but he did. But don't worry, reader, it's fine. It was probably his wife's fault and he had no choice. I'm sure it's difficult having to live in a house with your husband and his ex-wife, but not nearly as difficult as it was for my cancer-ridden mother to find out my father was sleeping with her oncology nurse. Incredible. Wait for all this to be excused somehow because blokes have to cheat, especially if their wives are dying. Then again, this has 0 effect on me because I know that there's insufferable bollocks about this later on. And boy, is there. So, keep your pitchforks away until the end. I go to the bathroom and search the drawers for some sleep medicine. I don't normally take it unless I'm sick, but the only thing I can think of that will get me through tonight without obsessing over my kiss with Honor's boyfriend is a few sips of NyQuil, which is precisely what I find under the sink. Bella did this too to hurry up time for her date with Edward. Are you guys okay? Just smoke weed like a normal human. If only I had seen his face prior to the incident on the town square, that whole embarrassment could have been avoided. I would have known who he was immediately. If he even has one decent bone in his body, he'll break it off with her and never step foot inside this house. It's not like they're in love. They barely know each other. It's only been a couple of weeks. Anyone in their right mind wouldn't want to come between sisters, especially twins. But then again, I doubt he has any intentions to pursue me after all. It was an honest mistake. He thought I was Honor. I mean, he probably will try and end up pursuing her, but why should he dump Honor over a contrived mistake? You're the one snogging people you don't know, completely sober. I've always feared something like this would happen, that someone would assume I was her and I would embarrass myself somehow. Really, the only thing that sets us apart is that she wears contacts and I don't. It doesn't matter that I've done all I can to differentiate myself from Honor, including cutting and dyeing my hair, starving myself, and overeating. That is a bit much, innit? I'm nothing like my identical twin sister, who prefers cadaver hearts to fully functioning ones. This is quite a rude way to talk about terminally ill teenagers, actually. A delicate subject, handled with all the tact we've come to expect from our favourite sociopath. Honor had a point. Merritt is a dick. I can see why she's single. And I am, absolutely, without a doubt, a far cry from my mother, Vicky, who spends her days and nights in quarter 4 watching Netflix, licking the salt off potato chips, living off disability, refusing to vacate the house where her ex-husband and newer wife, Victoria, continues to live their lives upstairs. Why do I sense judgment for the woman who had cancer and an adulterous husband? Chapter 3. 2 weeks later, and Honor is still dating Sagan, the slag. In that 2 weeks, Sagan has been at our house more times than I can count. He's here for dinner every night, for breakfast every morning, and most hours in between. What do you mean more times than you can count? 2 meals, 14 days, 28. Maybe this is why you shouldn't drop out of high school, babe. Once everyone started to gather their things and leave, I breathed a small sigh of relief until I realised he was still in the kitchen and didn't look like he was leaving like everyone else. I heard Honor tell him goodbye. I wasn't facing them, so it made me wonder if they kissed goodbye. Relevant later on. I didn't wonder enough to turn around and witness it though. I was curious why he wasn't walking out with her. It was a bit odd that he'd linger in the house he wasn't acquainted with after his girlfriend left for school, but that's exactly what he did. Don't be dense, Hoover. Wait, what? No. I mean Merritt. Well, if the shoe fits, don't be dense, Merritt. Hoover, you cannot have it both ways. You can't have characters be analytical about why their sister likes to date only the terminally ill, but be so dense about why a man they've snogged is lurking around. Don't play dumb with me. Do you want to talk about what happened? He said. He opened the dishwasher like he had the right to be doing dishes in this house. Why are you complaining? He's doing chores. He's earning his keep. He says sorry for kissing her and that he didn't mean to. He appeared to be genuine in his apology, but as much as I tried to grasp the sincerity, I couldn't help but analyse that last part. I never would have kissed you had I known otherwise. Somehow, that felt more like an insult than an apology. Oh yeah, sure, you'll analyse that. I don't like being envious of Honor. I tried to tell myself that it isn't him I'm attracted to. It was the thought of a stranger desiring me enough to kiss me with as much passion as he kissed me that day. That's what I'm envious of. The idea of it all. It has nothing to do with Sagan or who he is as a person. I don't even know him enough to know if I would like him as a person. And I don't want to know that, which is precisely why I avoid him. But I do know that he doesn't seem to be Honor's type and that there's absolutely no chemistry between them. Maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part. So she's clearly already working on a way to snatch him away from Honor. One night, Wolfgang, the dog that her dad hates, shows up because he used to live at the church, so Merritt lets him stay in the old doghouse. They also have an 8-foot tall Jesus in their living room because it's a converted church house. I gather all the stuff I need. Once I have the ladder set up in the living room, I climb with my stolen football trophy in hand. I slide the roll of tape off my wrist and place the trophy in Jesus' right hand, and then secure it there with tape. I readjust the cheese hat on top of his crown thorns. When I finish, I descend the ladder and stand back to admire my creation. I'd normally give Jesus a temporary nickname, depending on the theme of his outfit. Last month, he was referred to as the Holy Ghost for obvious reasons. And now, considering he is currently dressed as a Packers fan, complete with a home team jersey, a Wisconsin cheese hat, and now Drew Waldrop's missing trophy, I think I shall deem him Jesus Christ. Even Jesus isn't safe from the indie film quirk. And it is interesting, though, even though Merritt doesn't really believe in God, Coho still capitalised he and him in her speech. Stepmom is a believer and hates Jesus being dressed up because it's blasphemy. I disagree. It would be disrespectful if the actual Jesus were in our living room and I forced him to change clothes all the time, but this Jesus is fake, made out of wood and plastic. I tried to explain that to Victoria. I told her one of the 10 commandments is to not worship false idols. Dressing this idol of Jesus up for fun rather than worshipping it is actually following the commandment. I'm not sure about that one, champ. Honor and I may look identical, sound identical, and share identical mannerisms, but we couldn't be more opposite. Most identical twins finish each other's sentences, know what each other is thinking. I did not know that twins were telepathic. After Kirk died, she had experienced things I hadn't. Being in love, losing her virginity, experiencing grief. So the twin is the slaggy one. Moby is quite possibly the only part of this family that brings me joy, but 4-year-olds are fairly liked across the board. Coho already said this, back on page 21. Moby Voss is not hard to like, not because of his personality per se, but because he's 4. 4-year-old children are fairly liked across the board. Coho, you are getting lazier by the minute.
Boy, I really hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
There isn't a 4-year-old on Earth who doesn't love a crayon and a sheet of paper. Coho, was perhaps one of your darling angels 4 at the time of writing this? The one you dedicated the book to, perhaps? Because why else would you go on about him being 4 like I'm meant to applaud? Just yesterday, I found a picture he sketched of Honor. She was sitting on an empty grave, putting on lipstick. On the back, he had written, "Till death do us part." Let me guess, they both have a fetish for the terminally ill. I never know what any of his drawings mean. You could ask. She steals the pictures and likes to pretend that they are of her, not Honor. I'm sure the one he's sketching right now will end up at the bottom of my drawer as well because Honor doesn't appreciate the artistic side of him. Unlike Merritt, who is still a virgin, therefore not a slag, therefore still able to appreciate the finer things in life. Moby glances at me and covers his mouth with his hand, mumbling something intended for only me to hear. He always puts his hand flat over his mouth when he's telling someone a secret, rather than cupping his hand around his mouth. It's so adorable. We don't have the heart to tell him we can never understand a word he is saying. Hoover, I don't know who you take me for, or what you take me for, but I shan't insult you by pretending this interests me, because I respect you too much. I need you to know that no one cares about your kids as much as you, the related adult, does. Sorry, it's just a bitter truth of the world, babe. Also, I would absolutely smoke this kid if I was 4 again. What an idiot. She gives the boy a donut who hides it from his mum. You realise you're teaching him to hoard junk food, right? Utah enters the kitchen in his usual holier-than-thou mood. If he grows up to be morbidly obese, it's your fault. It's your fault, little sloth.
It's your fault.
Oh my god, I would love to collaborate with Nikocado Avocado. I don't know what we'd do, but just, I need to be there. Clearly, because if we collaborate, I do need to be there. Not that he would want to with me. I think he's on tour. Oh my god, if he came to the UK on tour, I would so go there. Who wants to go? Who in my audience who lives in the UK? Because I asked Rachel and Eva if they would like to come to, if he did a show in London, I asked them if they'd like to go with me, and they were like, no. Which, rude, quite frankly. He's so funny. Very, very good violinist, and probably one of the funniest people on this platform. Ironically, unironically, whatever. I think that just shows how immature I am. I keep getting like TikToks of him at the moment. That's why it's like in my head right now. Who in my audience Look at me trying to get friends by my own audience. Who would go with me to watch Avocado if he did a London show? Who wants to come? Open invite. Anyway, it's your fault, little sloths. Michelle Obama said pizza is a vegetable. I don't disagree with this theory, but I don't say anything to defend my actions. It would ruin my 3-day streak of not speaking. But despite my lack of a rebuttal, Utah is wrong. If Moby grows up to be morbidly obese, that's all on Victoria. She's eliminated entire food groups from his diet. She doesn't allow him to have sugar, carbs, gluten, or any ingredient that ends in ose. The poor kid eats steel-cut oatmeal for breakfast every day, without butter or sugar. That can't be good for him. Who wants to tell Hoover that oatmeal is a carb? Colleen Hoover said pizza is a vegetable. Utah and I have nothing in common, other than being the only two people in the Voss family to know its deepest, darkest secret. I can't wait for this both to be completely mental and utterly underwhelming. Spoiler alert, it was. There's so much exposition dumping, and best believe I don't care about any of it. It's just Merritt yapping about how her siblings are better at school than her and will get scholarships, but she doesn't even go to class. You'd think someone with intellect low enough to trip over probably shouldn't be skipping class, but alas, she just pervs on Sagan for a bit, pathetically. Then she complains about stepmom, and another thing. Do you know how much I was looking forward to Severance season 2 and how utterly underwhelmed I am by it? And do you know what I saw? I saw someone on Reddit say, well, do you know what? I'm not going to have an opinion on season 2 until season 3 comes out. I'll judge it by its merit then. It's like, what do you mean? Huff that copium much? What do you mean you can't have an opinion on... You've just invested 10 hours of your life into watching a TV show, but you are going to wait probably maybe 2 years to then invest 10 more hours of your life watching a TV show, to then have an opinion on something that you watched 2 years ago. What? Are you all fucking high on Reddit? Are you all insane? I'm so mad. I'm on my period. That's why I'm mad. How far are we into this video? I don't know why. Because I feel like the real ones stick around for this long. But I wasn't expecting it. But in hindsight, I should have been expecting it because it's the end of the month. Usually when I get, yeah. And the other day I couldn't stop eating and I was like, what is wrong with me? Why am I just like so ravenous? But I didn't expect it at all. I'm furious. I was like, why is my stomach hurting? It feels like, but surely, didn't I have my period a week ago? No, the whole month has just gone by in a blink of an eye and I didn't even notice. Wow, I feel like Dwight right now. Where he's like, I would love to have menstruation because then I could work out the date just by my cycle and I wouldn't have to deal with pesky calendars anymore. I feel like Dwight right now.
If I could menstruate, I wouldn't have to deal with idiotic calendars anymore. I'd just be able to count down from my previous cycle. Plus, I'd be more in tune with the moon and the tides.
Furious. That's me. I have been raging all week. So annoying. I swear I just had it, but I didn't. So anyway, yes, thoroughly underwhelmed. Because I was saying on TikTok, follow me on TikTok. I'm going to start uploading more on TikTok. I was saying on TikTok, I can't be, but after the Miss Cabal episode and what a waste of my time that was. Like I could feel that they were just taking the piss with my time, which is clearly very valuable because, you know, look what I do for a living. I was like, I'm not going to watch it. And then I did watch the finale and yes, thoroughly. Oh, but the cinematography, yeah, it looks good, but you can also have style and substance. Season 1 for me was 10 out of 10. Smart show, psychological, philosophical, a novel idea, interesting. Anyway, it's all gone wrong. The actors are still phenomenal, don't get me wrong. The actors are brilliant. But anyway, so I give up with that. I'm just watching K-dramas at the moment. I've almost finished Coffee Prince. I'm watching Mr. Sunshine. I'm watching The Silent Sea. If you know, you know. That one comment I got on my video is being like Alizee's impeccable taste because she likes Gong Yu. I know, right? Impeccable taste in things. So when I tell you that Severance Season 2 doesn't match up to the quality of Season 1, believe me, I could do a whole video on that, but no one watches those videos, so I just shoehorn it in here, so you have to listen to me. It's the opposite of gatekeeping. You are going to listen to things that I like and dislike, and you are going to enjoy listening to it. I'm also watching Gyeongsong Creature. What else? I was trying to watch Bad and Crazy, but I couldn't feel myself concentrating that hard on it, but I might go back to it. Anyway, should we just move on? We've had our little catch up now. You know way too many details about me. I've invited you to hang out with me if Nikocado Avocado ever does do a show in the UK. I feel like I've done my bit. So let's continue. I have no idea what my father sees in her. Sure, she's cute for her age, having just turned 35. Yeah, women stop being hot the moment they turn 19, eh, Hoover? You are as bad as a man. Maybe even worse, because you're meant to be a woman. I mean, 35. Jesus. She must leave a trail of dust wherever she goes in this house. Step mummy indeed. But that's the extent of Victoria's qualities. She's an overbearing mother to Moby. She takes her job as a nurse way too seriously. Not that being a nurse isn't a reputable career, but the issue with Victoria is she doesn't seem to know how to separate her work life from her home life. She's always in caregiver mode to Moby like he's ill, but he's a very viable 4-year-old. Being diligent and good at your job is bad now, is it? What? They kept the affair quiet for at least a year, long enough to realise my mother's cancer wasn't going to kill her after all. Damn, but Victoria's the one who needs to catch all the stray bullets, right? Not the dad. Don't worry, this isn't what it seems. It's explained right at the end. Since the day Victoria entered our lives, our family hasn't been the same. And while we do hold our father accountable for half our family issues, he is still required to love us, which makes him harder to blame than Victoria, who doesn't even like us. It's not harder, you're just not trying hard enough to be a hater. Be like me. Anyway, the 4-year-old gets given a donut for breakfast by Merritt and won't eat his oatmeal, and Merritt, because she's inept, doesn't understand why Victoria too, the homewrecker, is mad about it. I nod, assuming that's the end of it, but Victoria doesn't stop there, because a donut for breakfast is the equivalent to Armageddon and it deserves all the panic. You never ground them, she accuses. She grabs the bowl of oatmeal and walks over to the trash. She angrily scoops out the contents of the bowl into the trash. I've never seen you actually follow through with a single punishment, Barnaby. It's why they act like this. They being my father's 3 oldest children. And it's the truth. He's full of empty threats and very little follow through. It's my favourite thing about him. Sweetie, lighten up. Maybe Merritt didn't know she wasn't supposed to give him a donut today. I mean, I don't think that 4-year-olds should have donuts for breakfast either, so I don't know why Hoover assumes I'm on Merritt's side. And I know Victoria allegedly, at this point in the story, not really true, cucked a woman with cancer and is now living in her house after banishing her to the basement. But because that's just Coho trashing women as usual, I'm going to ignore the cartoon villainry to focus on just how much Merritt sucks as a person. You lose this round, Coho. I wonder if anyone will notice my taciturnity. Not that I'm giving anyone the silent treatment. I'm 17 years old, hardly a child, but I do feel invisible in this house most of the time, and I'm curious about how long it will take before someone notices I haven't spoken out loud. I realise it's a bit passive-aggressive, but it's not like I'm doing it to prove a point to them. It's simply to prove a point to myself. I wonder if I can make it an entire week. I once read a quote that said, "Don't make your presence known, make your absence felt." I reckon Coho should see how long it takes for people to notice she hasn't molested the market with another book, and then when they do, she should still not write one. No one in this family notices my presence or my absence. They all notice honours. I was born second, which just makes me a faded copy of the original. What? But you know, maybe if you did more of your life and had more personality than a damp crest sandwich, condensation-y like a sandwich that's been left in the fridge, people might care. Anyway, Pastor Brian, remember him? Pastor, not pasta. Pastor. Matt Berry. Father. New York City. It's a requirement that every British person knows how to do a Matt Berry voice. Pastor Brian, how have you, like the church bloke, died last night, and that's why his dog showed up. Why has my voice gone like this? Oh, what's going on here then? I put my hand over my mouth because I don't know what comes out. I just push the air and see what surprise lays on the other side. I put my hand over my mouth because I suddenly want to tell them all about the dog showing up in the middle of the night, but I feel like I might choke up. What does it say about me that I didn't have any sort of reaction just now to the news of Pastor Brian's passing, but realising his dog came back to the only other home he's ever known makes me want to tear up. Anya called me a sociopath once while we were in the middle of a fight. I'll make it a point to look up that word later. There might be some truth to it. Easy. Dogs are great. Humans suck. I guess according to Coho, I'm also a sociopath. You know, because I care about animals more than I do about people. Would I eat an animal? No. Would I eat a person? I'm not even going to joke about that because some people take that way too literally. Who cares? Anyway, so I'm the sociopath, according to Coho, which is rich though, because I'm not the one with an adult son with certain allegations against him. And I didn't block the girl Making the accusations. I can't believe he's dead, my father says. He stands up and Victoria's hand slides off his shoulder and down his back. He wasn't that much older than me. Of course, that's what he's focused on. Pastor Brian's age. What? How do you pronounce it? It's going to annoy me. Pastor. I pass the weed to the pastor. I pass the weed to the... That don't count because it's an American accent. Rigor mortis, Kendrick Lamar. I pass the weed to the pastor. Pastor. I pass the weed to the pastor. How'd you... Pastor. Oh, that's why I'm confused. Pastor. Yeah, okay, fine, whatever. I pass the weed to the pastor. And this is rigor mortis and it's gorgeous when you die. Anyway, he's less concerned about the death of a man he's been warring with for years and more concerned that he was close in age to someone who is old enough to fall over dead from a heart attack. But you don't care either. You don't get moral superiority on this one. Yuta is still paused at the door. He looks like he's in a state of disbelief. I don't know what to do, he says. If I don't acknowledge his passing on the marquee, people will accuse us of being insensitive. But if I acknowledge it, people will accuse us of being disingenuous. What an odd thing to be worried about in this moment. How does this MC get to throw stones in glass houses? Anyway, she then starts obsessing over Sagan again. I hate it. I also hate that he doesn't seem the type of person who talks a lot, but the few things he does say have more weight than if anyone else were to say them. He's like 20, so I doubt it. Maybe that's part of the reason I've decided to go on a verbal strike. I'm tired of everything I say not having a meaning to anyone. I'm annoyed about my hair. Should I pin it back? No, because I look weird. Should I just do it anyway? My pedigree to flat pasture. I pass the weed to the pastor. We all are killers. Won't you send us to Bible study fester? Your hypocrite's reaction to blasphemy. I assassin my casualty and it's casually done and tell him my salary come and lump some 100s. Don't talk to me about nobody. The sun is under my feet and I come in peace to compete. I don't run if you ever leave. My statistics go up in weeks and I go visit the nearest creek. Anyway, try to look like this from now on. Stop touching my hair all the time. I'll look weird. I don't wear my hair up in videos. How do I look? Do I look weird? My forehead, it's massive, so majestic. Contains all my brains. No, I feel like I'm at the hairdressers now. Maybe I should just do little ones. No, because it looks weird. But then I'll stop playing with it. Let's wear it for a little bit like this and I'll take it out. Don't anyone take pictures of me. Maybe that's part of the reason I've decided to go on a verbal strike. I'm tired of everything I say not having any meaning to anyone. I'll just stop talking so that when I do, my words will count. For someone insisting on not talking, you sure are yapping a lot. Oh my god, flip off. What's a heart attack, Moby asks. Victoria bends and begins to help Moby put on his jacket. It's when your heart stops working and your body goes to sleep. But it only happens when an old man like Pastor Brian. His body went to sleep, Moby asks. Victoria nods. For how long? When he's going to wake up? Not for a long time. Is he going to get buried? Yes, she says, sounding a bit annoyed with the natural curiosity of her 4-year-old. It is annoying, especially as children don't shut up and they always ask questions and they will keep this going. Why, for ages. But excuse me, this woman is obviously a terrible mother for finding the constant bombardment of questions a little bit tiring. I bet you're the type of person to pretend that every nappy change is a blessing, Coho. I smile, knowing how much Victoria hates telling Moby the truth. He asks all the normal questions about life and Victoria makes up the most bizarre answers. She'll do anything to protect him from the truth. I once heard him ask her what the word sex meant. She told him it was a terrible TV show from the 80s and that he should never watch it. He's 4, you idiot. He doesn't need to know. There's a very rude word that I keep using in this script and I can't say it because I will get demonetized. So let's replace it with wet lettuce. But imagine using another word for what's down there on... Surely that's what's here by... The rude word for vagina. Actually, that comes up later in the script. On my way to the kitchen, the marquee outside the window catches my attention. I squint to read the words Yuta selected to display. There are more fake flamingos in the world than real ones. I sigh, a little disappointed in Utah. If that were me, I would have paid my respects to Pastor Brian. Either that, I wouldn't have updated it at all. But to update it without acknowledging the death of the man who erected that very marquee seems a little, I don't know, like something people would expect from a Voss. I don't like validating their negative perception of us. Yeah, you, the judgmental wet lettuce, would have handled the situation perfectly. I believe ya. Anyway, why would it have been just disingenuous for them to express sympathy for a dead man? Is it because an atheist lives in the house and they don't care about anyone else, apparently? She stopped going to school. Anything for attention. Which again, dangerous for someone with her prodigiously low intellect. Look at this. Look at Stop what you're doing. Stop cleaning. Stop trying to go to bed. Stop trying to sleep to my dulcet tones. Look at the screen right now. Didn't realise I was reading a picture book, Coho. Is this book's thing? Its gimmick? It is. I flip it over and look at the back of it. At the very bottom it reads, if silence were a river, your tongue would be the boat. I have to take these clips out now because I'm getting self-conscious and I fear that I look ugly. I hate my hair because it covers up, most of my face, and I can trick people into thinking that I'm pretty by just covering like most of my face up. Like remember when we were wearing face masks because of COVID? I looked great. That's all I'm saying. I flip the drawing back over and stare at it a moment, completely taken aback. Did he draw this of me? Was he the only one in this house to notice I haven't spoken since Friday? He actually noticed, I whisper. Oh my God, who cares? Chapter 4. Merritt buys dog food for Wolfgang, and then there's some bloke. Peeking out beneath his hat are sporadic pieces of red hair, too bright to be authentic. So bright it's almost offensive. His face is decent, a little imperfection here and there, but I didn't give him much notice because my eyes went straight to the kilt he's wearing. I guess the kilt itself isn't tripping me up as much as the clothes he chose to pair it with. He's wearing a basketball jersey and neon green Nikes. Interesting. Ensemble. I don't care, but also let's hear about your fashion wizardry then, shall we? Actually, please don't. Kilt guy follows her out and starts bugging her for a ride. I give him another once over. I'm aware of how stupid it is to give a complete stranger a ride, especially a stranger in a kilt who can't seem to nail his own accent. Everything about him screams unstable, but my spontaneity and refusal to weigh the consequences of my decisions are my two favourite things about me. You're going to end up a statistic. Then again, you did allow yourself to be kissed by one stranger, so what's a little car ride? This guy... it's called luck. I press my hand against my forehead. I've known this guy all of 5 minutes and I'm already overwhelmed. I have no idea if I like him or if I can't stand him. He's a little bit fascinating, but in a slightly annoying sense. He keeps asking her questions and she's unsettled by it. Oh, what happened to not being annoyed by natural curiosity, you inconsistent hack? Then again, I suppose Victoria is only a bitch because she's such an old woman of 35. No, I say again, growing more agitated with him by the second. Are you dumb? Like, are you legit a stupid person? That is how I feel about you. When I first saw Sagan at the antique store, I'd have quite a fear that he was out of my league. But when I found out he was dating Honor, it never even crossed my mind that she was out of his league. I hate that I might have thought she deserved him more than I did. Deserve what exactly? What exactly is it about him that you want? Because he is so painfully mid-ICBA. It must be his garbage tattoos and his coffee shop grade philosophy. Oh, she tells Luck that she fancies someone and that someone is her sister's boyfriend, and Luck is like, wow, you're terrible, haha. Luck is the brother of Victoria, the evil stepmother. Sure, okay, why not? Kind of feel like it might have been mentioned at one point that Victoria has a brother, considering she lives with them, but I guess not. So Luck is her step uncle. If this was a Penelope Douglas novel, they'd be banging right now. Guess what almost happens and does happen? I already pictured you naked, he mutters. Now would be a good time to stop doing that. It's so odd. There's stuff all over the guest room. Shoes on the floor, the bed is unmade, and there are toiletries on the dresser. Who's staying here? I walk to the closet and open the door to find several of Sagan's shirts hanging up. You've got to be kidding me. How can my father allow him to sleep in the same house as her? This is further proof that he doesn't care. He doesn't even care if Honor gets knocked up at 17. To be fair to their dad, I don't care either. He probably can't wait for her to be Sagan's problem. Luck stays with them, also says that their parents are mostly dead, so whoever has that Coho bingo checklist, check that one off too. There are more sketches. Have a look at the screen. After closer inspection, I realise there's more to it than that. My hand goes to my mouth when I realise what I'm looking at. It's a depiction of me and Honor stabbing each other in the back. Why would he draw this? This is literally a children's book with pictures. There is no low to which Coho cannot sink. Sagan appears and declares he's been living in their house for 2 weeks. Caught snooping, Merritt storms off and cries and says that she hates Sagan because she fancies him so much. So then she prays to God to get over Sagan because she thinks he's her soulmate. Come on, Merritt, don't be like that. You haven't even tried slinging yourself at dangerous people outside that bar yet. Chapter 5, Merritt. No, just Merritt wake up. There's no quotation marks at the beginning because we aren't worth punctuation. However, I did notice that whenever a chapter opened on a speech, there wasn't, so screw me, who cares? Merritt has been sleeping all day and then gives her mum dinner. I spoon mashed potatoes onto a plate next to a piece of blackened chicken. There may not be much about Victoria to like, but her cooking has always been good. This is, after all women are good for. She sees her mum and then just calls her she for pages. It was a bit weird and dehumanizing. Frustrated is a better word. The older I get, the harder it is to understand her phobia. I get not wanting to leave your house, but to hold yourself up in basement for years while your children continue to live their lives upstairs, it seems more like the world's longest temper tantrum than a social phobia. Coho, yet again, not understanding or emphasizing with mental health or depression. The number of things Merritt doesn't understand is higher than she can count. And even if it weren't that many things, it would still be higher because she's dumb. Also, right, I'll just throw this out there now. Merritt is incredibly rude and intolerant, and at the end it's like one of the twists is, oh my god, she's been depressed this whole time, and then she comes to terms with being depressed this whole time, and it's like, yeah, but you can still be depressed and not like such a massive like bell end. You can be depressed and not like this judgmental, nasty, So, not a very good excuse, is it, Coho? Maybe she's in an online relationship. Normally, I wouldn't advocate for those. I don't know what gives this 17-year-old the right to advocate for anything. Maybe it's one of Coho's real opinions slipping through again. Anyway, she silently seethes at her for missing her life and then leaves. But I feel like if one of my parents had cancer, got cheated on, and then hold themselves up like someone with shell shock, I'd maybe ask more than 2 or 3 professionals if they could help them, even if I am an atheist. Then she has dinner with family. I plop down in my chair and scoot it forward. Moby is seated on my other side to my relief. You have a good day, I ask him. He's shoving a bit of corn in his mouth when he nods. Tyler got in trouble for saying bastard. Most of us laugh, but Victoria gasps. Moby, that's a bad word. Technically it isn't, my father says. Victoria glares at my father. It is when you're only 4 and you say it at preschool. What's a bastard? Moby asks. A kid born to parents who haven't got married yet. It's what you almost were, I reply. You'd think I'd slapped the kid with the way Victoria reacts to my comment. She immediately pushes her chair back and stands up. Go to your room. I laugh because at first I think she's kidding, but then I stop smiling because her anger is authentic. You've got to be kidding me. I look at my father and he's staring at Victoria, his fork paused in front of his mouth. I look back at Victoria. He asked what a bastard was. Did you want me to lie to him? Victoria's eyes are boring into mine. Her nostrils might even be flaring. I've never seen her so mad. I honestly didn't say it out of cruelty. A bastard is a child born out of wedlock, I say to Victoria. Isn't that what he almost was? I can't be bothered to explain to Hoover why it would be wrong to call a child a bastard, even on a technical level, and think you're being educational. Would Hoover feel the same technically way if you replaced bastard with wet lettuce? Probably not. Probably not. Also, the dad is called Barnaby. Imagine being cheated on by someone called Barnaby. Then for some reason, whilst being yelled at, Merritt brings up that Wolfgang the dog is now living there. Why does she mention this? Flip knows, especially considering last chapter she tried keeping it a secret. It usually is, Honor says. We can't get through one meal without you doing something to piss her off. I laugh incredulously. And that's my fault. I raise my voice loud enough for Victoria to hear our conversation. Maybe she gets pissed off because she's an unreasonable person. Just ask the little brother she's abandoned. The same guy that you find annoying and dislike. Why do Hoover characters try and feign moral superiority when their own shit stinks? And like it or not, the definition of a bastard is a child born out of wedlock. And in case any of you forgot, Victoria got pregnant while Dad was still married to Mum. So Moby was practically a bastard. And wet lettuce, it doesn't, means vagina, but we don't say it in sex ed for a reason. Then Luck walks in and Victoria tries kicking him out. I can put up with a lot, but Honor's snarky attitude about my decision to stop going to school is my boiling point. I toss my roll back on my plate. Tell me, Honor, what have I missed this week that's going to miraculously prep me for life beyond high school? Probably an English lesson where the work you're studying eerily mirrors your current life experience, teaching you things about yourself that wrap up conveniently at the end of term. A la bully. You want to talk to me about being unreasonable? I challenge. Does your new boyfriend know how reasonable you've been when it comes to your past relationships? Honor's jaw clenches. I've hit a nerve. Good. Maybe she'll back off. That's not fair, Merritt, Utah says. Whatever, I mutter. I tear off a piece of my bread and pop it in my mouth. Of course you're going to defend her. She's your favourite. Utah leans back in his chair. I don't have a favourite sister. I'm defending her because you always get too personal with your attacks. I nod. Oh, right. I forgot. We like to sweep things under the rug and pretend Honor doesn't need therapy. We are a third of the way through this book and nothing worthwhile is happening. The FMC is more unlikable than usual, but that's about it. Moby sniffles some more and then says, everyone is fighting. Ugh, nothing can make me feel worse than when Moby is upset, considering you were the one calling him names and calling him technically a bastard. I don't believe you. Moby's room is whale-themed, which I hope changes before he starts having sleepovers. It's bad enough that he was named after a murderous whale, but for Victoria to actually go so far as to extend the theme to his bedroom is just asking for Moby to get bullied. Moby likes the whales, though. So Victoria is so inept that she wants her child to get bullied by giving his bedroom a theme that he likes. Did you hit your head when you wrote this? Moby Dick is Victoria's favourite book. I also don't trust people who claim for a classic to be their favourite novel. I think they're lying just to sound educated, or they simply haven't read another book beyond high school English requirements. Flip me, Hoover. I knew you couldn't read, but you didn't have to say the quiet part out loud. No, I suppose Merritt would be fine with people calling her favourite sibling Moby Penis, because technically it's the same as Moby Dick. She's doing that thing where she hates a character, so everything about them has to be cartoon villainry levels. I bet Victoria likes classical music too, the wet lettuce. My favourite book is God-Shaped Hole. It's not a classic. It's better than a classic. It's a modern day tragedy. I've never read Moby Dick, but I can almost bet it doesn't leave you feeling like you have less skin than before you open the book. How would you have opinions on something you've never read, you weapon? Sagan wrote Moby a bedtime story called The King's Perspective. When did he give you this? Moby shrugs. Like 7 years ago. I laugh. Moby is the smartest 4-year-old I know, but he cannot, for the life of him, grasp the concept of time. Firstly, how many 4-year-olds do you know, you nonce? Secondly, no he isn't. Thirdly, of course he doesn't, he's 4. Again, 4-year-old me would have destroyed this child at anything. I could destroy him now. Hoover, I don't care about this toddler character. Why are you trying to force this motherhood by proxy onto me, you weirdo? There's a picture of a bird. I won't put it in, but actually I'm grateful that this is a picture book because it means there's less space for stupid words. Anyway, the story is a poem about a king who builds a town and makes the people build him a castle, and then he kills the town when they don't build it, but actually they did build it inside a mountain, so he puts all the dead bodies inside the mountain and he runs away. I flip back to the first page of the poem. A little in shock by what I read. This is a children's poem. This is just as morbid, if not more morbid, than the art he creates. And the fact that Moby now believes it's a true story. Weren't you just gassing about how smart Moby is? He can figure it out. She storms off to yell at Sagan for the story, and then the siblings all decide to go swimming. They all look at me. No one verbally invites me, but with the way they're all looking at me, I assume this is the way of asking if I'd like to come along. I'm good, I say, turning down the non-verbal invite. I've never gone swimming at the Hotel of Honor and Utah before. It's gone to where they don't even invite me, but since I'm standing right in front of them, they probably feel pressured. Boring, made-up problems. The parents announce that Luck is staying, and they all go swimming, Merritt included. She changed her mind because she doesn't want them to get... Well, it says here. Earlier today, I was regretting running into Luck at the store, but now it seems like I might finally have a friend in this house. I never go swimming with Utah and Honor because they never seem to want me to, but I'm afraid if I don't go tonight, Luck will bond with the 3 of them and I'll be the odd man out again. So he's not a friend because there's something you like about him, but because it will serve you in some way. Ha! Chapter 6. Anyway, they go to the pool. Luck lets it slip that Merritt has a crush on someone. I think you two have more in common than you think, Sagan says from the back seat. Honor glances over her shoulder and glares at him. I'd like to turn around and glare at him too, but I actually feel things when I look at him. Unlike Honor. I don't even know if Honor is attracted to him. She doesn't look at him like I would look at him if he were my boyfriend. And if he were my boyfriend, I'd be sitting in the back seat with him and not in the front seat where Honor is sitting. I hope he picks you, babe. I hope the car crashes. I feel bad for him. He's got so much more invested in this relationship than she does. I could tell that simply by the way he kissed me when he thought he was kissing her. He's moved in and committed, and she's just waiting around until a less healthy guy comes along. He's moved in and committed after like 4 weeks as a 20-year-old, and this is being framed as desirable and not insane. Go away. Like, imagine how tiring it would be having this dude with bad tattoos and drawings always about the place, randomly saying things he insists are profound. Ooh, tongues are canoes and silence is life. Shut up, Sagan. Sagan and Honor met at the hospital. Merritt presumes Honor thought he was dying and that's why she dated him. This is still dumb. Luck says Victoria hates him for killing their father and then says he was kidding. I'm including this in case it's relevant later on. It wasn't. When we get inside, Honor walks up to the front desk and rings the bell. A few seconds later, one of Honor's friends from school, Angela Capici, appears from the back office. I've never liked Angela. You don't like anyone. I keep more to myself than Honor does. I'm not as good at hiding my distaste, and I've always distasted Angela. She's the type of girl who allows the attention from guys to value her worth, and from the way she's eyeing Luck right now, she must be in need of a little valuing. Hey, she says to him with a flirty grin, you're new. You're the one pining after your sister's alleged boyfriend. Honor and I walk into the girls and she immediately pulls her shirt off and begins changing without walking into one of the stalls. I'm a bit more modest than she is, and the idea of someone walking into the bathroom while I'm squeezing into my bathing suit is enough to force me into the stall to change. You don't mean modest, you mean self-conscious. No one in the ladies' changing room cares about how you look. Get naked. Who cares? I notice I sometimes refer to him in my head as her boyfriend instead of Sagan. I wonder if I'll ever stop referring to him as her boyfriend and not by his name. I just really like the name Sagan. It's smart and sexy and I don't want it to fit him. But it does. What? I take off my t-shirt and look in the mirror. I stare at my one piece and wonder why everything looks better on Honor, even though we're identical. She looks prettier in dresses, better in jeans, taller in heels, sexier in swimsuits. We have the same body, same face, same hair, same external everything, but she pulls off her face with more maturity and sophistication than I ever could. Yet somehow Sagan will fall for merit instead of Honor. Wait, is this the ultimate wish fulfillment? That person looks exactly like me, but better, but the guy still picks me for some reason? Merit spends the whole time sitting on the pool ledge away from the others because she's a fool with zero social skills despite constantly giving it the big I'm so smart guns in the narrative. Luck takes pity on her and talks to her, must be pity, and tells her why Victoria hates him. Our father wasn't that involved with either of our lives, and our mother was having trouble controlling me. She thought Victoria might be able to help, so I went to live with her when I was almost 15. I wasn't even there for a week before I stole all her jewellery and pawned it. I waited for him to explain the rest of the story, but he has nothing else. That's it? You took some jewellery when you were younger, so she kicked you out and refused to speak to you What do you mean that's it? Fuck off, pick me. He leans to the right and then to the left and drags out the word when he says, well, it was more than just a little jewellery. Apparently what I took had been passed down for generations on her mother's side and it meant a lot to her. When she confronted me about it, I was insensitive. I was a punk kid who was supporting a weed habit. Heavens to Betsy, not weed. We got into a huge fight and I left. Never went back. You haven't spoken to her since that happened? No, we were never that close anyway. Why does she forgive you tonight? I told her my mother died and I have nowhere else to go. He pauses, and I was able to track down one of the rings. I gave it to her and apologised. And it was sincere, because I really do feel bad for what I did. I think an apology is all she really wanted this whole time. Funny how Victoria needs apologies from people, but she never wants to apologise to any of us for tearing our family apart. How on earth did you just make Victoria the bad guy in this? Need I remind you, it was your father who went back on his marriage vows, well, no, he still did. And he doesn't get half the flack Victoria does. I guess now I get to know my nieces and nephews. Don't call us that. It's weird. Why is it weird? I shrug. I don't know. I just don't think I could ever look at you like an uncle. Are you attracted to me? I scoff and maybe even cringe a little. Luck is good looking, and I'll be lying if I said my head wasn't heading in that direction earlier today before I found out he was Victoria's half-brother. But now that I'm aware, there's not an inkling of attraction there. I can't even entertain it long enough to kid around with him. Hoover, you're so weird for this. Can you tell us apart? I asked Luck. He shakes his head. Not really, but you're both so different. It probably won't take me long to be able to tell who is who. How are we different? You've only known us a few hours. I could just tell. You both give off different vibes. I don't know. It's hard to explain. You seem more serious than her. You mean she seems more fun than me? Trust me, bro, we are stuck in her head. We know she's not fun. She's a fun vacuum. I know, but that's the consensus. I'm the quiet, angry twin. She's the outgoing, fun one. I don't know either of you well enough to make that determination yet. Well, it won't take you long to figure it out. And then Honor will be your favourite and you'll hang out with her and Sagan in Utah and the four of you will become best friends. Don't complain. People don't think you're fun when you act like this. Says the guy named Luck, I reply. What was your mother thinking? As soon as I say it, I regret it. He's probably still grieving her recent death and here I am, bringing her up. Sorry, I mutter. That was insensitive. No worries. She's a terrible person. Haven't seen her in years. I thought you lived with her, and that's why you came here, because she died. He raised a brow. No, I told you that's what I told Victoria. And somehow Victoria is still the villain, even though she didn't lie about her mother dying. Luck works on a cruise ship usually, and that's why he has a strange accent, because he spends his time mimicking other accents. Anything for attention. He leaves and Sagan comes along to bother me. I shrug. Honor is only 17, a little too soon for her boyfriend to move in. I'm not her boyfriend. He literally says it right there and she's still... They're not dating. So, I know, I ruined the twist for you, but he literally says it right there and she's just like, how weird. Anyway, her boyfriend. Why were you named Sagan? Are your parents fans of The Astronomer? He looks at me with slightly widened eyes. I'm impressed you know who Carl Sagan is. The bigotry of low expectations, though, to be honest, I'm surprised Hoover knows who Carl Sagan is too. Sagan stares at me with a tilt of his head, his expression full of curiosity. What is it? He smiles a little and then says, you have a speck of brown in your right eye. Honor doesn't have one. I'm surprised he noticed. Very few people noticed. In fact, I'm not sure anyone has ever pointed out that difference to me before. So they must be soulmates then. Honor also doesn't have crumbs all around her mouth and a face like a smacked ass. Sagan smiles at me appreciatively for a moment, then lifts his hand and slides away strands of my wet hair that are stuck to my cheek. Sagan isn't so much a man as he is a floater in that pool. Since the moment I found out he was Honor's boyfriend, I've done everything in my power to fight my attraction to him out of respect for my sister. But he doesn't seem to be fighting it very hard because he's looking at me right now like he wants to pull me underwater and breathe his air into my lungs. Have you been trying that hard? Also, that sounds grim. Anyway, Sagan runs off to take a phone call, so they leave the pool. I finish changing clothes, but don't bother brushing my hair or applying makeup like Honor did. I just don't care as much as she does. Oh my god, she's not like the other girls because her hair is a tangled, chlorine-filled mess. She didn't even shower after the pool. I'm guessing she doesn't do skincare either, but inexplicably, her skin is perfect and not a dry skin mess in need of exfoliation after being in a pool full of chemicals. I bet she didn't even spit up all the plasters that she swallowed whilst taking a lap. Then this happens. Luck was in the middle of a conversation with me a mere 15 minutes ago when he got up and walked away. How, in the span of 15 minutes, did he end up having sex with a girl he doesn't even know in the office of a hotel? I'm angry and I don't even know why. I couldn't care less who Luck has sex with. I don't even know him. I'm angry about the fact that I wouldn't even know the first thing about having sex, much less a quickie with a guy I'd never met before. Sex seems like such a monumental thing. It should take months to lead up to, and he accomplishes it in 15 minutes. That happened. Also, poor woman. I bet she had the time of his life. He got held up, I add. He was busy screwing Angela in the back office. Honor spins around her seat, wide-eyed. Shut up. Angela's dating Russell. I really don't care. Is she? Utah asks. Isn't that Shannon's older brother? Honor turns around in her seat. They've been dating for like 2 years. I can't believe she'd do that to him. Her words make it appear like she's upset about Angela cheating on her boyfriend, but her voice is way too eager for the possibility of it happening. Honor has always loved gossip. It's one of the many things she and Utah have in common. Yeah, Merritt would never gossip, despite bitching about everyone in her head. Anyway, she antagonizes Luck, who responds with, lol, are you a virgin? And then Sagan gets defensive over her. Good lord, where is the plot? And the Syrian refugee crisis like I was promised. The Syrian crisis has instead turned out to be Sagan not knowing which underage twin to bang. How nuanced and sensitive. Chapter 7. I'm going to take a break to go eat a burger. Shall we continue? Been away. I've eaten a burger. It was a bean burger. I was going to order. And I was like, no, I'm not going to. I'm not going to spend. That was better, a more manly scream. I'm going to spend the money. So I made a bean burger. It was okay. I know I complain about this like every video. And every time I do, people are always like, oh, your makeup looks nice. You can't see what I can see from this. You just can't. I finally ordered some new makeup, so hopefully it'll be better than this. And I'm thinking I might try and get my money back by making like a whole, because I ordered like quite a lot. Elf, so affordable, cheap, got like my money's worth. But I ordered like quite a lot, so I think I'll make individual TikToks and shorts and reels and whatever, and then see if I can make some sort of money back from it. Anyway, should we just get on with it? Chapter 7. They go home and shower. They couldn't shower at the pool facilities, which is weird. I don't know. I don't speak peasant. Merritt overhears Sagan and Honor arguing. I know I say this every single book review, but at this point I was ready to skim read this one because we were 37% of the way in and nothing was happening. Luck appears to talk to Merritt. I open the door wider and he walks in, assessing my room. I close the door while I assess him. He's wearing a pair of navy blue... I'm tired now. All that hard work of eating a bean burger. He's wearing a pair of navy blue sweatpants and mismatched socks. He doesn't have a shirt on, but he's wearing a scarf. Why are you wearing a scarf? It's cold in my room. Why didn't you put on a shirt? They're all in the wash. He's so matter of fact. Like a scarf without a shirt is completely normal. Okay, I've relapsed on my skim read promise because what is this? He's so quirky and ignores boundaries. Marry him, you coward. Luck points out Sagan might like Merritt and she's all, nuh-uh. I roll my eyes. Are you an expert? How many people have you had sex with? 42. I'm being serious, Luck. I am too. You've had sex 42 times? He shakes his head. No, you asked how many people I've had sex with. The answer is 42. But I've had sex 332 times. No, you haven't. You're 20. This is another coma dream, isn't it? Why would someone with that many partners remember the number of instances? I bet Coho remembers the number of times she had sex. It's roughly twice the number of children she has. Luck returns and closes the door, then sits in the same spot again. He's holding a small worn notebook. Am I too harsh to her? Not when you get in pangs of conscience. No, it's Coho who is wrong. He's holding a small worn notebook. I keep track. He opens the first page and there's a list of initials on the left-hand side of the page, locations in the middle and a date on the right-hand side of the page. I snatch the notebook from him. I flip through it and read off a few of the lines. PK Crew Quarters, November 7, 2013. AV Lido Deck, November 13, 2013. AV Lido Decks, November 14, 2013. BN Hotel in Cabo, December 1st, 2013. This really is a coma dream. The same one that Jared from Bully is in, because it's... No, I'm not going to finish that sentence about his sexy dad. Anyway, this is one of the most pathetic things I've ever seen, and I've seen Theresa May try and dance on stage. He shrugs. I don't know. I like sex. I figure someday I might break a record, or maybe I'll want to write a book about my adventures. Ha, laughs in Bonnie Blue. I'm not like Honor. I don't fall in love easily. I don't even know how to flirt easily. See, she said that earlier, didn't she? And anyway, you snogged a stranger who followed you. So, Coho, cut all of this out and replace it with a block of text that just says trope. Luck notices her trophy collection. Luck shakes his head. I've met a lot of people in my life, Merit, but you might be the strangest of them all. She has literally done nothing. Then again, it is actually rare to meet a living, breathing, ostensibly sentient organism that has absolutely no life whatsoever. Speaking of strange, it's a text from my mother. If you're still awake, could you bring me a razor? I'm in the shower and mine broke. I roll my eyes dramatically and strop my phone on my bed. Why does she need to shave? No one would ever notice how hairy her legs are. She doesn't interact with anyone. Heaven forbid a woman does something for herself. I take that back. 'Cause she didn't. You'll get there. She's not doing it for herself. I take it back. Either way, her cellar-dwelling mum has more charm and charisma than Merit does. As I'm walking towards the stairs with her dishes in hand, my eyes fall to a pile of medication on the table next to her couch. She's been on several different medications since as early as I can remember. Medication for her cancer, pain pills for her back, anxiety pills. I look back at the bathroom to make sure the door is shut. I set the plates down on the couch and pick up one of the pill bottles. It's the medication she takes for pain. My hands begin to shake as I open the lid. They always do this when I come down here and take some of her medicine. I've never actually taken one. In all honesty, I don't even know why I steal them. I have no desire to become addicted to medication like she is. I think I steal them out of spite. Everything you do is because of spite, you unflavoured gremlin. There's a new picture in her room. Okay. So she goes to Sagan's room to ask him what it's about. He says it doesn't mean anything. I swallow my embarrassment. Why is he making it seem like I'm overreacting? Yes, gaslight her, king. She stomps off. Chapter 8. I wonder if anyone would even notice if I ran away. Why don't you try it and find out? Still wouldn't make you interesting though. I reach under my pillow and check the time and notice a text from my father sent an hour ago. Cowboys lost last night. I blame you. Please undress Jesus and burn his clothes as soon as you get home from school today. So the father, who is the atheist, also capitalised his. Merit is skipping school again and spies her father coming out of the mother's basement, tucking his shirt in. Did he just have sex with my mother? Did my mother just let him? Because remember, sex is always something that is done to a woman, not something that they can be a willing participant in. Though this has problems. We'll get there later on, if I remember. Remind me, this bit has problems. She confronts her mother, who is just like, you're a kid, what do you know? I laugh. Age has nothing to do with it, mother. Are you seriously having sex with him, knowing he sleeps in bed with Victoria every night? Is that why you refuse to move out? Because you think he will leave her for you? She stands up and walks past me, heading for her bathroom. She looks in the mirror and wipes her fingers under her eyes, getting rid of the mascara streaks. Is that why you still dress up every day? Because you're trying to steal him back? Yeah, bar kidnapping, you can't actually steal people from their partners. Again, willing participants. She's at the base of the stairs looking up at me. You haven't been a mother to me since I was 12. You haven't been a mother to any of us. And now I know why. Because Dad is the only thing you've ever cared about. I run the rest of the way up the stairs. She calls my name, but I don't return to the basement. Right before I slam the door, I yell down, the only thing separating you from crazy is a few cats. Well, this was tastefully handled as always. Dad knows Merit now knows. Honor wants Merit to cover her for tomorrow night, whatever that means. I swear to God, this family is the worst. No wonder so many people hate us. 40 41% of the way through, and we have seen 0 real book examples of them being so unpopular. You know what they say? Berate the reader, don't show. Luck gets a job at Starbucks. Is sex really all it's cracked up to be? I asked Luck. Why do people risk so much for it? You're asking the wrong person. I don't think I value it as much as most people. I hope to God I don't either. I don't want it to rule my entire life and every decision I make. It seems that way with my father, with Victoria, with my mother. I want sex to be meaningless so it has absolutely no control over me. In fact, it would be great if I could just get it over with. I roll over to my side and prop my head up on my hand. Luck? He's staring at me apprehensively. What? I swallow nervously. Do you think maybe we could... Luck laughs, but I don't crack a smile. I'm dead serious, even though I can't seem to come out and ask him. When he sees that I'm not smiling, he lifts up onto his elbow. No, I'm your uncle. Step uncle. No, step uncle, what are you doing? Coho has already mined all of the other dynamics throughout all of her other books, so she's going for the step uncle now. I know you better than you knew Angela and you had sex with her. He narrows his eyes at that response. You're a virgin, Merritt. I'm not having sex with you. He falls onto his back like the conversation is over. I'm not giving up. You said yourself that people put too much weight on losing their virginity. I just want to get it over with. Sex doesn't mean anything to you anyway. I can't tell if it looks nice or not, because I'm pretty sure I've set my phone camera to make my draw small. You know, you could do that, right? So she then starts hassling him for sex because what is self-respect? He contemplates it because of course he does. He's a bloke in a Coho novel. So it's just a means to an end. I nod. The end of my virginity. He studies me closely, waiting for me to change my mind. When he sees I'm not going to, he shrugs. Okay then, let me grab a condom. This is very utilitarian of them. It probably isn't. John Stuart Mill just bolted up right in his grave. Like, what? They're doing what now? It probably won't feel good, he warns. I don't know why, but that comment made me laugh. I'm serious, he says. His hand meets my hip. It might even hurt. He gently rolls me onto my back and then reaches for the condom. As he's putting it on, a good 30 seconds go by that I could use to change my mind, but I don't. Luck then rolls on top of me, holding his weight up with his hands on either side of my head. He brushes my hair back, which is an oddly sweet gesture, and then reaches between us and spreads my legs. Well, of course it's going to, not feel good / hurt if you don't do anything before just sticking it in. They've literally not even kissed. Yeah, of course, breaking a hymen, well, it doesn't always need to hurt, I suppose. Some people it doesn't, but most people it's going to hurt. But it will hurt more if you just go, ugh, rather than do a bunch of other, I don't want to see foreplay between the step uncle and step niece anyway. Regardless, if this is what luck constitutes as sex, then those 40-odd women have absolutely been hustled. I can't do it. Seriously? I ask. We were 2 seconds away. He nods. I'm sorry. It's just, when your phone lit up, you made this face that reminded me of Moby. I cringe. He kind of looks like you in Honor. It's weirding me out. I pull up the covers over my breasts. That's gross. Guess this is what every girl really wants to hear. Anyway, they chicken out of doing it. Cowards. If this was Penelope Douglas, they'd be finished by now and Merritt would be thinking about shagging a stepbrother next. That Penelope. The ball's on her. I like that he's still playful. We just experienced one of the most awkward things two people can possibly experience. Covering up a murder would be more awkward. Or, have you ever seen people run after ping pong balls when they ping away from the table? That's pretty awkward too. Sagan, I don't run after nothing. Don't even run after the bus. Sagan sees Luck as he leaves the bedroom. I bet Sagan wishes he was still in Syria. That was an educated guess, that Sagan is the Syrian refugee based upon the many hours I've spent studying Coho. Colleen Hoover could be my thesis. I think this is my PhD. If I don't end up going to university, this is my school of work. I just had an existential crisis. Ugh. Yikes. It's been several hours since I almost lost my virginity. I'm still the same, and I have a feeling I'd still feel the same if my hymen were no longer intact. I won't feel sexier. I won't feel more worldly. I won't be miraculously confident. If anything, I'm a bit disappointed. Why do people risk so much for sex? Because what you think of as sex is actually just sitting down too hard on a bike saddle, you Mormon-adjacent muppet. So many secrets in this house. And yet, the one secret I should have told years ago is the one I've kept the quietest. Honestly, it's really not that impressive. Merritt confronts Dad, calls him pathetic, walks off. Thankfully, he doesn't follow. I walk across the yard to Wolfgang's doghouse. He's just laying there, looking up at me. He's not even excited to eat. Do dogs suffer from depression? I wonder if human Xanax would work on him. If so, I should feed him some of my mother's. I sit down next to his doghouse and Wolfgang crawls forward a little and lays his head in my lap. He licks my hand and it's honestly the sweetest thing anyone's done for me all day. At least he appreciates me. She got more foreplay from the dog than she did from Luck. Also, that poor dog, how self-absorbed is she? At least he appreciates me. Do something for the dog. Doesn't end well for him, by the way. Spoiler. Does the dog die.com? Yes. I glance to the left at Sagan's bedroom window. There's a light on, which probably means he's up drawing. I wonder what he's drawing. Probably a morbid picture of me losing my virginity. I don't know if this was the intention, but I found that funny at the time. Not now that I'm reciting it, but at the time. Sagan notices her. She accidentally cuts her wrist, and then he comes to give her a plaster. She should just cough up one from the pool. So this is the infamous Wolfgang, huh? He reaches out to pet him and Wolfgang allows it. Never mind the fact that Wolfgang's head is in my lap and now Sagan's hand is touching something on my lap. And what is oxygen? What the hell is this sentence? Sagan points out Wolfgang's stomach is swollen so he could be sick. Something gets caught in my throat. I make a sound like a gasp and a cough mixed with disbelief. I quickly cover my mouth and then the swelling in my throat causes tears in my eyes. Why am I sad? I've spent my whole life hating this dog. Why would I care if he's dying? Okay, sociopath. Yeah, why would I care that an animal is sadly dying in front of me days after their owner Sagan says he will call a vet and then marvels at Merritt's tears, amazed that she has a heart. I don't know about that, mate. You didn't hear her be surprised at feeling sad over a potentially dying dog. Sure, he'd never call me a bitch, but that doesn't mean he's not thinking it. Sagan just doesn't say mean things out loud. Maybe that's a product of how he was raised. Or maybe he's some kind of saint. Or an angel brought to Earth to test my morals. For a saint for doing what? He's just existing and drawing. He's just there drawing. Sagan lied about having an allergic reaction and meeting Honor in the hospital. What actually happened was he was visiting a friend in the hospital and met Honor through him. Wow, what a difference. Merritt concludes Honor must be dating both guys simultaneously. And wow, who cares? I don't. I'm thirsty. Fine, I'll go get some water. Fine. Fine. Cheers to that one person in my comment section who also has the same IKEA glasses. I think you can see on camera, but because I've been using Rimmel London setting spray because they went cruelty free last year, but it's not very good. There's it's already separating. Yeah, granted it's been 3 or so hours. It's very separated. It's not very good. No, you can't see it on camera, but I can see it, and that's what matters. My opinion. Let's get through this. Let's see if we can do it all in one night. We're almost halfway there. They chat. Sagan asks if she had sex with Luck. She gets offended and storms off. Then Honor texts her about seeing some bloke and wanting to keep it a secret from Sagan. I wonder if this is what death is like. Just nothing. Yeah, I wonder if this is what death is like too. Purgatory. Coho. Chapter 9. Merritt covers for Honor. Merritt is still mad about Sagan asking her a question, but secretly she's pleased that he might be jealous of Luck. Isn't fair to him. I know he isn't innocent in this, but at least he's being honest with Honor. Whereas she's off with his dying best friend Colby. Yes, that's it, because women must always be the most villainous sluts. Even though that's not what's going on. Anyway, this is why she's the prettier to him, even though we're identical. She wears sexier nightgowns and We already had that earlier, didn't we? Sexier nightgowns, sexier bathing suits, and sexier hair. Why don't you just sleep with her, why don't you? So she wears Honor's silky nightgown to see if she feels sexier and starts braiding her hair like Honor does. Skinwalker. You feeling better? I freeze. Sagan is locking the front door. All the lights are off, except for the glow but from the electronics in the kitchen. Shit. He thinks I'm Honor. I can't admit that I'm not. How would I explain wearing her nightgown and having my hair braided like her? This is so embarrassing. Why is everything with him so embarrassing? Yep, I say, inflecting my voice a tad sound more like Honor. More pleasant. You know where this is going. So Sagan starts yapping to her, thinking she's Honor. And then, as if sitting next to him isn't bad enough, he goes and touches me. He lifts his hand to the side of my head and tucks my hair behind my ear like I don't actually need oxygen to survive. You already used that oxygen line earlier, babe. I just had to remind myself that this is a published novel, and then I started crying and laughing for a minute. And I don't look it. Can't even say that the makeup covered it up because the makeup is shit. Anyway, I'm sure the crying and laughing was unrelated and just hormones. You know how women are. Honor is terrible. She's a terrible human doing this, lying to him, cheating on him. I want to tell him so bad, but knowing he's lying to his friend kind of justifies what Honor is doing in a way. And for some reason, my loyalty is with her, I think. I don't know. I'm so confused. I close my eyes because I'm beginning to not be able to function. He's so close and it makes me wonder if he would taste like mint ice cream again. I'd give anything to taste that again. She wouldn't know. If it happened, it would be her fault, not mine. This entire situation is all her fault. She's off kissing some other guy right now. Maybe this is her karma. I do what I do best. I react without thinking. I lean forward and press my lips to his. His hands meet my shoulders. I pull away long enough for him to say her name. Hey, so this isn't informed consent. It's abuse when that nerd in that 80s film shagged that cheerleader whilst he pretended to be her jock boyfriend. Anyone know what I'm talking about? I don't know what I'm talking about. It was abuse then. It's abuse here too. So she keeps kissing him, impatient, quote, and is met with resistance, and he pulls her off of him, then notices the bandage on her wrist and realises it's Merritt. But as soon as he realises she's Merritt, he starts snogging her face off. Of course, it's the greatest kiss that has ever been kissed. I close my eyes and completely melt into him. I melt into his chest, his arms, his mouth. When his tongue finds mine, I all but give up on trying to reciprocate. My mind isn't connecting with my limbs. It's like they're being controlled by some other force. My hands slide through his hair and his hands move to my waist and then to my lower back. And it's nothing like the first time we kissed. It's better. It's real. It's me, not Honor. His mouth is like a cacophony of flavours right now, each one fighting to overpower the other. Everything delicious all at once. Sugar and sweet against salty and savoury. What a load of horse shit. A cacophony describes sound, but Merritt is an idiot, so this tracks. He does stop lying on her to ask her why she's in Honor's clothes, and then he's like, do you think Honor and I are together? And oh my god, whatever, who cares? He reveals that Honor is his friend and is seeing his best friend. What a reveal. Join us next week on Let's See If I'll Even Give a Single Flip. But I shake my head, more confused than ever on how to respond. Why'd you both make it seem that way? He laughs incredulously. He tilts his face up and stares at the ceiling for a moment. We don't. That's just how you choose to see it. I think back on the last couple of weeks. By the way, this is a Michael Scott Fret Level Midnight t-shirt, in case anyone was wondering. Someone got it for me for my birthday. Plus it's laundry day today. Laundry day and we've not done any laundry. You know what I mean? I think back on the last couple of weeks. All the times he's been referred to as her boyfriend were when I referred to him that way. He never called himself her boyfriend. Honor never said he was her boyfriend. Aside from a few hugs, I've never once seen him kiss her. I've only seen them hold hands at the pool. Coho pulling an equivalent to "it was all a dream," the stakes, the drama. I used to think "it was all a dream" was so deep. I was 10. He doesn't bring up the whole kissing Merritt, thinking she was Honor at the beginning bit yet. So we'll get there, don't worry. He inhales a slow, controlled breath. Let me get this straight, he says. You thought I was Honor's boyfriend, so you pretended to be her and then you tried to kiss me. What kind of person does that to her own system, Merritt? He grimaces and turns away from me, gripping the back of his neck. When he lifts his head to look at me, his eyes are full of disappointment. You are such an asshole. This is like reading Coho's mind, snapping in real time. These aren't humans. They aren't even characters. They're just whatever appears through the mist of Coho's wine-drunk haze. I've been called a lot of things in my life, but no one has ever called me an arsehole. It hurts so much worse than anything anyone has ever said to me. Give me 5 minutes alone with this bitch. Chapter 10. Sagan stomps off and Merritt mopes. Done, 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 I reaffirm as I roll off the couch. I walk to the kitchen and grab a red Solo cup. I open the cabinet above the refrigerator and pull out a bottle of liquor. I don't even know what it is. I've never had alcohol before, but what better time to try it than in the same week I almost lose my virginity and piss off the one person I actually feel something for in this house. Little Miss Spontaneity has never tried alcohol before. That's kind of funny. So then she downs a whole cup. What a legend. We like to drink with... Merritt. I was going to say Honor. We like to drink with Merritt because Merritt is our mate. No, she's not. I open the door to my bedroom, but it's lonely, empty, depressing. It reminds me of me. So she goes to see Luck, and Utah is in his bed naked. So she runs off and drinks more alcohol, and I don't blame her at this point. Luck almost had sex with me yesterday, but he said he couldn't finish because I look like Moby. But Utah looks more like Moby than any of us, and now he's having sex with my brother. If this isn't the ultimate form of rejection, I don't know what is. What's wrong with me? Luck would rather have sex with my brother than me. Sagan called me an asshole right after we made out on the couch. Drew Waldrop broke up with me with his hand on my boob. Why am I so repulsive? This is low-key hilarious. Is Coho in her redemption arc with me? Finally, I am entertained. It only took hundreds of hours and 15 book reviews to get there. Utah tracks her down to threaten her into silence, and she's like, I don't spill your secrets, remember? I said if it's something trivial, I'm going to shit. Like, it wasn't, but also I'm still unimpressed. Merritt gets sick of keeping everyone's secrets and wants to go scorched earth on these weirdos. She then writes an open letter to her family about their secrets. You all hate me. You all think every argument in this house is my fault. You all wonder why I'm so damn brash all the time. It's because of all of you. Where do I even begin? How do I begin with the oldest secret? Did you think I would forget Utah? Did you think, because I was only 12, that I wouldn't remember the night you forced me to kiss you? It's hard to forget something like that, Utah. If you knew how much I worshipped you as my big brother, you would understand why it's so hard to forget what you did, when you did what you did. It's not a big deal, Merritt. That's what you said to me when I shoved you away. You tried to make it seem like I was overreacting to what just happened. One minute I was in my brother's room watching a movie. The next moment, my brother was trying to kiss me. I ran out of your room that night and never looked back. Not once. I've never been to your room since. I've never allowed myself to be alone with you since. And it's like you don't even care. You never apologized. Do you even feel guilty? Oh dear. But that's it, by the way. I mean, yes, incest is bad. And yes, assault is bad. But I really thought he killed someone or something. Anyway, she then writes about how the dad is having an affair with Victoria 1, the mum. Your husband is probably why our mother still lives here in the basement. He's doing so much damage to her mentally that she's under his complete control. He gets you in the bedroom and my mother in the basement. And you're both Victoria, so he doesn't even have to worry about screaming out the wrong name. He's living every male's fantasy. That is kind of base, not gonna lie. Well, guess what, Mum? He's not taking you back. Why would he? You open your legs to him anytime he wants. Imagine saying that to your own mother, who is sick. Not in the way that we've been told in the story so far, but she is sick. You're probably more pathetic than he is. At least he's raising his children. At least he's working to put food on the table and a roof over our heads. He's damn shitty at the whole father thing, but he's been a much better parent than you've ever been to us. So yeah, consider this my goodbye. I won't be visiting you in the basement anymore. If you care about any of us, you'll suck it up, get a job, move out, and get a life. Yes, the woman is the evil one, of course. She then complains about Luck, her, and Utah. Then she outs Utah. Maybe he couldn't finish with me because he prefers dick. Utah's dick, at least. Oh, did no one know Utah was gay? Not that I have anything against anyone being gay. Love is love, right? This is so fucking condescending. I'm sorry. Like, I'm straight. I can't speak for anyone. But, like, viewers watching this who aren't straight, do you feel condescended to when I mean, she's being a bit sarcastic here, but like she's tried it before in a few things. Like, what was that one? Was it Hopeless? There was a gay dude in that who was wearing the pink shirt. Do you not like it's almost like I can see her like trying to be inclusive but going about it like the most clumsiest way possible. And do you feel patronized? I feel patronized, and it doesn't really concern me. Love is love, right? But I just didn't know that about Utah. But yes, Utah is gay and he's sleeping with Luck. Then she goes, yes, I dressed up as Honor to hook up with Sagan, but she's obsessed with the terminally ill, so there. Who in their right mind seeks out love from people who are dying? Sensitive as ever, Coho. She then drinks the rest of the tequila and makes copies of her letter. She also confronts Luck. I put the final page on the copier. Yep, nearly there. I glance to the other side of the copier and see Luck's worn notebook for his conquest in it. I glance back at him and he isn't looking at me. I flip to the last page and sure enough, he has my name written down. It says 332.5 MV her bed DNF. I got DNF'd. A big fat did not finish. That's funny. She then drinks beer on top of the entire bottle of tequila she drank, as someone who has never drunk alcohol before. Coho, have you drunk alcohol before? Has anyone ever offered to buy you some?
I don't think Michael's ever done drugs. I don't know if anyone's ever offered him any.
I downed the first beer and my stomach already hurts, but it still doesn't help the pressure in my chest. You know what this feels like? It feels just like the day I decided to stop going to school. I was walking into the cafeteria when Melissa Cassidy grabbed my arm and said, Honor, come here. You won't believe what I found out. She dragged me about 5 feet to her table where Honor was already sitting. She glanced back at me and then at Honor, and then she said, oh, sorry, I thought you were Honor. She let go of my arm and walked back to the table and started whispering in Honor's ear. I just stood there, staring at Honor. Everyone liked her, despite the fact she was a Voss. Everyone wanted to hang out with her and be her friend, and I was simply a byproduct. The identical twin sister with less to offer. There wasn't a single girl at that table who would rather be friends with me than Honor. Nothing terrible happened that made me want to drop out that day. I was never bullied at school, despite everyone having their unsavory opinions about our family that we've never seen. I was just there. When I cut to myself, everyone was okay with that. No one bothered me. When I decided to join in on conversations with Honor and her friends, everyone was okay with that too. I was Honor's twin sister. They weren't going to be rude to me. What they were was indifferent. And I think their indifference bothered me more than if they would have hated me. It was like 17 years of denial smacked me in the face right there in the cafeteria. The whole school would notice if Honor stopped showing up. But if I stopped showing up, life would go on. With or without merit. In fact, I'd had 2 texts from friends in my class asking why I hadn't been at school for 2 weeks. 2. That's it. And that's another reason why I've stayed home. But for some reason, I thought I would like staying at the house more than going to a school where it didn't matter. But I don't. I hate it here too. I don't matter here either. If I dropped out of life, just like I dropped out of school, everyone's lives would go on with or without merit. I down the second beer, and as soon as it's empty, I toss the can at my bedroom door. Without merit, I whisper to no one. Well, that was more pathetic than I thought it would be. You know, maybe if you had a single hobby, interest, or thought, people might mistake you for a real girl. Trigger warning, suicide attempt. So then she downs all of her mother's stolen pills with the beer and writes without merit on all the copies, and I don't know, it's kind of melodramatic, don't you think? I felt nothing reading it, which I shouldn't, but alas. Right, I'm taking this out now. She also delivers the letters under everyone's doors because she's fine. Now my hair is really annoying me. Oh, should I get a fringe? I don't think I suit fringes. I've got a weird face shape. I don't know what I suit. Should I get black hair? Should I get a Brazilian blow dry? I never had one before, but I saw, doesn't it like keep your hair kind of straight so you don't need to straighten it? I haven't straightened this just because I lost my straighteners. Anyway, what? Oh yeah, she delivers the letters under everyone's doors. She's, because I give up. Really into, have I already said this? Oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm really into wrestling now. And you know, John Cena, the heel turn, I'm still getting used to the lingo, right? Recently. Well, there was a clip my boyfriend sent me of like his first, I think it was his first appearance, or like an appearance in Germany after he had beaten up Cody Rhodes for The Rock. And he just goes on stage and he's just like screaming at the audience for a good 20 minutes. I reckon it must have felt so therapeutic for John Cena. I even reckon he was acting. I was like, that's real. That's his real feelings. So I'm convinced that most of the wrestling is real. I'm literally a 12-year-old boy. I'm so convinced. And then he was being like, I've been in a toxic relationship with everyone here, and the people that support me, you're even worse. Look, you're dressed like me. And he points out this little kid, and he's like, you are the problem. You are the toxic relationship. And then the camera pans this little kid. This little kid's just like, John Cena's just yelling at him. I'm like, oh my God, dream job. I would love to be a wrestler. I'm not athletic in the slightest, but I would love to be a wrestler. It'd be so fun. It's so dramatic. But the way John Cena was going on about it was so relatable. It was like, me, this is how I talk. It's genuinely. She then delivers the letters under everyone's doors because despite all of that alcohol and the pills, 28 of them, she's fine. She notices a sketch to her from Sagan. It's insane to me that after they kissed, he ran off to get his feelings out in drawing format. What a graphite covered weasel he is. I shudder when I see it. I wrap my arm tightly around my stomach. 2 hearts on either end of the couch. One of them whole, one of them's cut in half. Which one is mine? I feel sick. I drop the drawing and watch it float to my bedroom floor. It lands on top of the empty bottle of pills. I stare at the word carcass. Carcass. Death. Dead. I roll over and bring my knees to my chest and hug them. I squeeze my eyes shut and try not to let it all sink in. Don't let it sink in. The tears begin to slip out my eyes, no matter how tightly I have them closed. My bottom lip begins to tremble worse than my hands. I don't want to die. So then she decides that actually she'd rather live. I don't know that I've ever cried this hard. I can't make a sound. I can't scream. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I try to make myself vomit again, but it doesn't work. Every time I reach the back of my throat, my fingers recoil. It won't work. It won't work. It won't work. I felt nothing reading this. Just like, oh, she's repeated herself again. She manages to crawl to Utah's room and get his attention. Sagan appears, forces her to vomit. They call 911. What did you take? Utah asks. He's kneeling down in front of me, still on the phone. Victoria brings me a wet rag. That's foreshadowing for how Victoria too actually isn't evil. There's lots of commotion. Honor comes home. Merritt says she took her mum's prescription pills. The father goes, phew, she's fine. Somehow Merritt is completely coherent despite downing an entire bottle of tequila plus 3 beers. How big was this bottle? Was it actually just like a little mini like this? Why is she so unaffected? Did Hoover just forget? Is Hoover the one who is drunk? Victoria too has found the letters and starts on Utah, who reads the first page and cries. Barnaby also reads it, punches Utah, kicks him out. Paramedics come and Barnaby says it's fine, they were placebo pills. The absolute drama, the scenes, the cinema. This is Coho's best work yet. I won't say that in the title. I'll probably say, is this her worst book ever? No, my friends, it is her best. Even Victoria 1 pops up to see what the fuss is about, but she doesn't leave the basement top step. I'd give anything for her to walk over here and hug me. Anything. She knows something bad has happened or she wouldn't have opened the basement door. Yet she's more concerned about her not leaving the basement than she is about me. There's a character in the Silo book series and TV show, but I've read the books, who doesn't leave their home because they've got agoraphobia, and it's actually a lot more compelling than this is. Honor then starts yelling that Utah would never assault his sister. Honor runs up to her and my father. You can't make him leave, she's lying. Victoria looks at my father. You can't let this slide, Barnaby. Damn, Victoria too, being, more of a mother than the first one. Utah storms off without admitting his guilt or apologising. Sagan slowly takes a seat on the couch next to me. He's popping his knuckles like he's angry, but I have no idea which person this family he's angry at. More than likely, me. You are so dumb. Then everyone leaves, Barnaby, Sagan and Merritt alone. Barnaby smashed a chair against a wall and then flounces off. This is typical forgivable man behaviour. Also funny, but there's zero difference in the narration between sober Merritt and allegedly drunk off her ass Merritt. I'm not suicidal. I was drunk. I did a really stupid thing and now he thinks I'm in the shower trying to plot ways to off myself. I don't want to die. If I wanted to die, I wouldn't have gone to Utah for help. What teenager doesn't think about what it would be like to die every now and then? The only problem when I thought of it was that my thought was coupled with my spontaneity and alcohol. Most people think things like this through. Not me. I just do them. All of this delivered with zero emotion, by the way. Sagan invites her to stay in his room, so she does just that. He's going to sleep on the floor, her in the bed, and she starts crying over her sad life. I can't believe what I did tonight, or even yesterday. I wish I could go back and not drop out of school and none of this would have happened. Hell, I wish I could go back several years ago and never had that moment of Utah. Or maybe I should have gone back 10 years ago to the day Wolfgang showed up in our backyard. If I'd have just killed that damn dog, then we never would have moved into this church. What the hell, you piece of crap? Is Coho deliberately trying to flog a book with the most unlikable protagonist ever? Humbert was more forgivable. Any sympathy I had none, eradicated in one single paragraph. So Sagan gets into bed with her and spoons her and then raps Forgot About Dre until she sleeps. Chapter 11. The next day, everyone seemingly carries on as normal and doesn't care about Merritt's attempt. Except Merritt's dad makes an appointment with the psychiatrist and then she bitches about that. He's showing that he cares. Fool. God forbid a Hoover character gets therapy. I laugh, but it's a pathetic, forced laugh. And then I'm frowning because laughter is only a fleeting cure for the melancholy, which seems to be my constant state of mind here lately. Damn, I just know Hoover thinks she ate with that. Then Merritt and Sagan discuss God. He chews on it for a moment before saying, humans are romantic creatures. It's reassuring to believe this all-knowing being who has the power to create anything and everything still loves the human race more than any... Ew. Ew, right? You call that romantic? I call it narcissistic and ethnocentric. Hoover, you don't even know what that means. I can feel myself instantly wanting to disagree with him, but I don't, because my head hurts and I might be a little hungover from last night. This is her first ever hangover, yeah? And we are given nothing except this throwaway line 6 pages into the chapter. It's just there's never any description of like how one actually feels. Or like, I'm tired. You know, how you would describe your head hurting or like your stomach roiling or, you know, the thought of having eggs for breakfast makes you want to like spew or whatever. There's just never anything. She's so lazy. Not to mention that he seems wise beyond his years and I'm not about to compete with him intellectually. I've seen none of this, cheers. Sagan is he's 19 actually, if anyone cares. I don't. They go to the antique store and Sagan buys her the $85 trophy that, you know, she saw at the beginning and then they have lunch. The same question has crossed my mind many times though. If he doesn't see Honor as more than a friend, why did he kiss me at this fountain when he thought I was Honor? Because he definitely thought I was Honor. Not even the best actor in the world could fake the confusion and shock when she called him on his cell phone. I don't ask him about it though. I mean, why would you ask him when instead you can just pointlessly fret for 5 more chapters instead? My eyes are drawn to a new tattoo on his arm. It looks like GPS coordinates. I point to it. Is that one new? He looks at his arm and nods. Yeah, I did it last week. What do you mean you did it? I do my own tattoos. I tilt my head and inspect a couple more of his tattoos. You did all of these? I suddenly find them much more fascinating than I did prior to this knowledge. I want to know the meaning of all of them. Like why he has a tiny toaster on his wrist with one slice of bread. Or what your turn doctor means. Or what the flag stands for. I point to the toaster. What's this one mean? He shrugs. It's just a toaster. It doesn't mean anything. What about this one? I ask, pointing to the flag. It's the Syrian opposition flag. What does that mean? He runs his thumb over the flag tattoo. My father is from Syria. I guess I did it as a tribute to our heritage. Finally getting somewhere with the Syrian refugee crisis. But I do have to wonder, is he actually Syrian or is he American Syrian, which means that he's 1/16th Syrian? They finally have a real discussion about something, only 63% of the way into the book. Do you want to do tattoos as a career? He shrugs. Nah, I have other plans for my future, but I enjoy it as a hobby. What's your major? Double majoring in political science and Arabic. Whoa, that sounds serious. It just made me laugh. I have so many questions. Like, why is he majoring in Arabic and political science? Does he want to work for government? What serious things are going on in the world does he want to be a part of? That's the last thing why don't you ask him? That's the last thing I'd want to be a part of. This just proves how different he is from me. He's already working towards his future, which sounds quite serious. And I still don't know if I'm going to return to high school next week. I feel like such a child. I mean, you are. They then go to a special bookstore that only sells books signed by authors for charity. Sagan stands in front of the books, fingering them. Blah. Okay. Then this absolutely ridiculous scene happens. Sagan goes outside to take a phone call. Can I help you find anything? The woman behind the register is staring at me. It's a little unnerving. She looks to be in her late 30s. Ugh, what a slut. I mean, no, the opposite actually. What a hag. And her frizzy hair is piled into a knot on top of her head. She's sitting behind a laptop, looking across the room at me, waiting on me to answer her. I'm good. She nods, but then she says, Are you okay? I nod again, a little annoyed that this woman is asking me if I'm okay. That seems a little intrusive. I glance out the window again and Sagan is pacing back and forth, doing very little talking. He's mostly listening to whoever is on the other end. He squeezes his forehead at one point, which makes me feel sad for him. He seems stressed and I can't help but feel a little bit guilty about that. Is he your boyfriend? The woman asks as she makes her way over to me. I try to keep my eyes from rolling, but I'm pretty sure it's obvious I'm not in the mood to make small talk. No. Brother? She asks, taking a seat on the couch across from me. No. She gets comfortable and looks out the window at him. He's cute. How do you know him? If I stare hard enough, I wonder if Sagan will look inside and see how desperate I am for him to come save me. Until that happens, though, I have no choice but to answer this woman's questions. I try and answer them all at once, so it will leave her no room to ask me more. He's a family friend. I point down Main Street towards the courthouse. He kissed me for the first time over there, but he mistook me for my twin, which is the only reason he kissed me. So it was an accidental kiss. I've tried avoiding him for the past few weeks because I thought he was dating my sister. But last night I dressed up as her and kissed him again, only to find out he's not even dating my sister. We got into an argument and he left, so I went to my step-uncle's room and he was having sex with my brother. So I got drunk, swallowed a bunch of pills, and almost died. Sagan, I point outside to him, that's his name, Sagan thought a sugar cookie in a bookstore would make me feel better, so that's why we're here. This woman's eyes are wide, but she doesn't look shocked, just a little overwhelmed by the info dump. She eventually leans forward and says, Well, he sounds like a keeper. There really isn't anything better than sugar cookies in bookstores. She stands up. You thirsty? I have soda in the fridge. That didn't happen. I do wish the bookstore employee had just dead-eyed her and said, Jesus, I was just being polite. Is this I feel like maybe is this character referenced somewhere else? Like, what was the... I don't see the point of it. Never mind. Why can't we be a normal family? My voice is muffled against Sagan's chest. The woman nods and steps aside to let us pass. Right before we walk out, she says, Don't even think about stealing one of my gnomes. Teenagers are always stealing the gnomes. I glance back at her and give her a reassuring wave. When we get inside, Sagan laughs. That was odd. I don't disagree. But I like odd. So I'll probably come back. You don't like your family being odd though, do you? Chapter 12. Utah wants to talk to Merritt. She ignores him. Have you spoken to Utah at all? Luck asks. What if he wants to apologise? He had several years to apologise. The only reason he's willing to do it now is because it's out in the open. Doesn't feel very genuine at this point. Wonder if he'll get excused. Yeah, it does. I don't have an appetite anymore, now that everyone seems to be upset with me over something Utah did. I know it was a long time ago and I know they hate finding out something terrible about Utah, but where is my sympathy? Am I that unlikable that they have absolutely no compassion for how much I was affected by that incident? Yeah, kinda. Then Sagan jaws Merritt. She wears an ugly bridesmaid's dress for the picture, but then he gives up because he can't do her justice, so they go for a walk instead. What a boring turn of events. They then start cuddling. Imagine if instead something happened. Like, anything. That would be a treat. Coho would be spoiling us. Sagan squeezes my shoulder and presses his lips into my hair. It's the sweetest thank you anyone has ever said to me. And he didn't even use words. This story has become Snoozeville again. It was more fun when she was drunk causing chaos. He asks her if she's depressed and she's like, no, of course not, because mental health doesn't exist in these books. So many people dream of living in a house with a white picket fence. Little do they know, there's no such thing as a perfect family, no matter how white the picket fence is. He laughs. Let's make a pact. Whenever we get our own house someday, our picket fences won't be white. Hell no, they won't be white. I'd paint mine purple. That is so indie movie coded. I hope they both get lead poisoning. Then they paint the yard fence purple. She finally questions him about honor and about the fountain kiss. She's seeing my friend, he says. I would never do that to him. It's complicated, he says. He runs his hand down his face and struggles with his words for a moment. I saw Honor, you, browsing the antique store that day. I watched her for a while. I was curious because she was so different that day. Dressed down in a pair of jeans with a flannel shirt tied around her waist. She wasn't wearing makeup, which completely threw me off because Honor always wears makeup. I knew Honor had a sister, but I didn't know she had an identical twin sister. So the thought that Honor might have been you never even crossed my mind. I don't know. It's hard to explain because you're identical, but I was drawn to her that day in a way I'd never been drawn to her before. I felt things I'd never felt before when I was around her. I liked how she looked at everything with the curiosity of a child. I liked that she never once pulled out her phone. Honor is always on her phone, and sometimes I just want her to put it away and enjoy the world around her. I really liked it when she took the blame for that little boy when he broke that antique. And then when I walked out to her outside and looked up at her close, it was like I was seeing her for the first time. And even though I had never kissed her before and I felt guilty as hell for kissing her, knowing my friend liked her, I couldn't not kiss her that day. Something came over me in that moment and I couldn't stop myself. So you would, in fact, betray your friend. You know, as long as Honor wasn't wearing makeup. It's all good. Also, for all he knew, it was actually a non-consensual kiss, but he couldn't help himself, so that's okay. He realised it wasn't Honor pretty quickly though, so whatever. My heart couldn't beat any faster if I drank a 5-hour energy and chased it with a Red Bull. I don't know, sometimes I feel like she's taking the piss. Everything he just said is everything I've been wishing were the truth. I fantasized that he saw something different in me that he didn't see in Honor. Congratulations! You got picked! Why did you say you bury me right before you kissed me? Is that something you say to Honor? Sagan looks down at his hand, the one that's caressing my knee, and he smiles. No, it's the meaning of the Arabic word, tukberni. Tukberni? What's the English word for it? He leans his head back against the back of the swing and tilts it a little so he's looking at me. Not every word can be translated into every language. She cut an eye. There isn't an English equivalent for the word. You bury me sounds a little morbid. Sagan smiles. I can see a hint of embarrassment in his expression. Turkberni is used to describe the all-encompassing feeling of not being able to live without someone, which is why the literal translation is, you bury me. These are big feelings from a guy who stalked someone for a bookstore. She then asks why he's waited a whole 2 weeks to tell her this. Do you want the honest truth? He brings his eyes to mine and I nod. He folds his lip together for a moment and then he says, the more I got to know you, the less I liked you. Based. He says he likes her today. Very romantic. Honestly, I don't even blame him though, because she is a wretch to be around. I roll my eyes. Of course I do, I think. So I have moments of unhappiness. What teenager doesn't? Everyone sometimes wishes they were someone else. Someone better. With a better family. He shakes his head. I've never wished that. Bollocks. So she goes, you've never even met your little sister, and then he gets mad. You could have died, Merritt. That's huge. And until you recognise that, I don't want to pursue anything of you. I think you have a lot that needs to be addressed, and I don't want to cloud that over whatever is going on back here. He motions between us with his hand. This can wait. The back and forth is thrilling. He tells her to go to therapy, and she is literally flabbergasted, so she storms off. Who does Sagan think he is? He won't pursue me because I might get too happy with him and that elation could mask my supposed depression. Get over yourself, I say as I shut my bedroom door. Just because I've been unhappy lately doesn't mean I'm depressed. I unbutton my stupid dress and let it fall to the floor. I barely have a t-shirt on my head when Sagan walks into my bedroom without knocking. So remember, the line is, I barely have a t-shirt on my head when Sagan walks into my bedroom without knocking. I say, funny, Coho. Because I could swear you don't support this behaviour when Justin Baldoni allegedly does it. They bicker, and then he starts staring at her bare legs, so she gets horny. It's a mile a minute. He probably could open his mouth and call me an asshole again, and I'd still want to kiss the lips the insult came from. What? So then they make out. He pulls me against him, but walks me backward at the same time until my back meets the wall behind me. My God, he whispers against my lips. Your mouth is amazing. I think his is pretty amazing too, but I don't respond because I'd rather give him back my tongue. He takes it, kissing me deeper, pressing himself against me into the wall. Co-host spends too much of her life imagining these scenarios. She has too many of them ready to go. This kiss is everything I thought it would be and more. I'm amazed at how healing his mouth is. As soon as he's pressed it against mine, it's like all the stress that's been swimming around my head disappeared. All the angst, the frustration, the anger, it subsides with every stroke of his tongue. This is exactly what I needed. Coho characters will do everything but go to therapy. Then he stops kissing her. His thumb brushes my cheek, and then his satisfied grin falls into a pointed stare. That's exactly why I won't do it again, Merritt. You need to fall in love with yourself first. He watches me for a moment, his eyes searching mine. I have no reaction. I'm too shocked to move, or too hurt. Did he seriously only kiss me to prove his point? What? What a manipulative king! Of course, if he really was so wise, he would have found a sensitive way to convince her to improve her relationship with herself, but because he's a marionette in a 10th-rate romance novel, we're stuck with the empty drama of a kiss made under false pretenses. Again, for like the 4th time in this book. Chapter 13. This book, yeah? I found out that someone said this at a Goodreads review. But apparently this book won the Goodreads Choice Awards for romance. Maybe because the only other entry was the KKK romance. She's talking to Luck. Great. Pretty sure any job I have from here on out will beat working on a cruise ship though. He pulls out a string on my blanket until it comes loose in his fingers. He puts the string in his mouth and eats it. Do you suffer from picker? What's that? Never mind, I say. Why? He tells her about the time he tried to die by jumping off a cruise ship into water. Why did you do it? Did you hate your life that much? Luck shrugs. Not really. I was mostly indifferent. I worked 18-hour days. I was tired in the monotony. There wasn't really anyone who would have missed me. So one night I was standing on the deck, staring out over the water. I was thinking about what it would be like to jump and not have to get up and work the next morning. When the thought of death didn't put fear into me, I just decided to go for it. Hoover, did you just make someone trying to, commit suicide into a quirk? Because that's low even for you. He nods and looks over at me. He's unusually serious. So did you, Merritt. I mean, I know they were only placebo pills, but you didn't know that at the time. And I don't know how many people who would stick their hand down someone's throat and then sift through the vomit to count the dry fingers in. I can't deal with dry. No, don't think of the lollipop sticks. Me editing this later is going to be crying at that. Sift through the vomit to count the number of pills they swallowed. I feel like people would do this to save someone though. I guess I would if I had to. And if I really liked the person. I did learn something from jumping off that ship, Luck says. I found out that depression doesn't necessarily mean a person is miserable or suicidal all the time. Indifference is also a sign of depression. He looks me in the eye. That was a long time ago, but I still take medication for it every day. I'm shocked. Luck seems like one of the happiest people I know. And while I do appreciate what he's trying to do, it's also annoying as hell. Are you trying to turn this into an after-school special? Can kind of see why no one likes you, my dude. Also, he seems happy because the medication works. He doesn't need magic bullshit sex to fix him. Though he is a massive loser who tracks his sex life. He's all, why were you stealing pills if you aren't depressed then? And also, why have we skipped over the pills being placebos? I really didn't come in here to say all that. He leans forward and rests his elbows on his knees. I think I maybe had too much caffeine at work today. I'm not usually this sappy. It's probably the whole gay thing you're experimenting with and making you sentimental. He glances back at me and narrows his eyes. You can't make gay jokes, Merritt. You aren't gay. Does being gay make you the gay authority on who can or can't tell gay jokes? I'm not gay either, he says. Could have fooled me, I laugh. If you don't think you're gay, you're sexually confused. Luck rolls his head until his neck pops and he leans back against the headboard again. I'm not confused either, he says. I'm very comfortable with my sexuality. It seems like you're the one who's confused by it. I nod because I am definitely confused by it. Are you bisexual? Luck laughs. Labels were invented for people like you who can't grasp a Why is everyone so condescending in this book? Who can't grasp a reality out of a defined gender role? Coho, the call is coming from inside the house. Missy. I like what I like. Sometimes I like women. Sometimes I like men. A few times I've liked girls who used to be guys. Once I liked a guy who used to be a girl. He pauses. I liked him a lot, actually. But that's an after-school special for another day. I laugh. I think I might be more sheltered than I thought. I think you might be too. Not just from the outside world, but you might even be sheltered from what's going on inside your own house. How did you not know Utah was gay? Have you not seen his wardrobe? Who's making gay jokes now? I say, shoving his shoulder. That's such a terrible stereotype. Well, this is all an annoying mess. All of it. Again, imagine if literally anything happened in this story. And I clocked it. This is how we're going to justify Utah kissing Merritt, that he was experimenting with his sexuality and wanted to make sure. I clocked it. Which, we'll get there, but preemptively, great job, Coho, implying being gay is a perversion while trying to give progressive speeches through Luck's character. Much like the book itself, I'm not buying it. Luck prints off a list of symptoms of depression and gives it to Merritt, who goes off it and checks everything off, for goodness sake. I stare at the list with a knot in my stomach. My hands are trembling as I look over the list and realise I've checked off every single box. Flip this stupid list. It's no different from any other online symptom checklist that leads people to falsely believe they're suffering from some terrible disease. Have a headache? You must have a brain tumor. Have chest pain? You're having a heart attack. Trouble sleeping? You're depressed. This is very insincere, and I'm not quite sure what gives Coho the right to try and lecture us about mental health in this book, considering she's contributed to my mental health getting worse by reading this rubbish. I laugh and follow him down the steps. I don't know why it's so cute when kids cuss. I'll probably be that mother who encourages her kids to say things like shit and damn it. Those aren't real swear words, you wet lettuce. Satan? Sagan appears. Merritt, he says quietly. I'm sorry about last night. I was up all night thinking about it. He sounds sincere. I open my mouth, but then I clamp it shut again because I lost his attention to the ring of his phone. He's digging in his pocket, stepping back onto the grass, bringing his phone to his ear. Wow, I whisper. I shouldn't be shocked that I misread his apology as sincere. He couldn't even silence his phone long enough for me to respond. I leave him to his urgent phone call and let the screen door slam shut behind me. Bet the phone call is either about his family or his friend dying, so then Merritt can be all, oh, I'm a horrible person, which, to be honest, you are. Do you reckon Colleen will ever write a book where the drama isn't based off endless misunderstandings or characters refusing to divulge information because they'd rather flounce off in a huff? Anytime this century? I walk into the kitchen just as my father and Victoria are walking through the front door with the pizza. Moby, they didn't have gluten-free, Victoria says. You can have regular pizza tonight, but don't get used to it. Moby's eyes light up and he climbs onto a bar stool and pulls the box towards him before Victoria even has a chance to sit on the table. That's not how being gluten intolerant works, I say to Victoria. You can either have it or you can't. Luck covers my mouth with his hand. Merritt, let the mother allow her children some gluten tonight. I pull my head away from Luck's hand and mutter, I'm just making a point. Right, but Victoria is apparently so cartoonishly evil that she could have just decided, yeah, do you know what, you're right, and not given the child any pizza and just given him broccoli instead. So you would rather make a point than let a child eat pizza. Or eat. You really are a piece of work. Merritt is so unsympathetic as a character that she can only be balanced against cartoon villains. And even then, they're more sympathetic. Sagan glances at Honor and she's glaring at him. I mean, no. He's trying his best to get that frown off her face. I feel bad for him, even though I'm so angry at him. Is she mad because he's paid attention to me for the last 2 days? Does she have to be the center of everyone's attention? Again, Merritt is the one who is the thoroughly unlikable one here. Where's all this hostility coming from? I asked, frustrated. I assumed you'd be a little more sympathetic. Oh, please, she says, scooting her chair back. She stands up. If it was the truth, you would have said something when it happened. Why would Utah do something like that to you and not to me? My jaw is tight and my teeth are grinding together as I hold everything back that I want to say to her right now. I can't believe you're taking Utah's side right now. You're calling him out when you admitted to the whole family that you tried to lose your virginity to our uncle. Yeah, Hoover, Honor is such a pick-me that she's mad that Utah didn't try to molest her. There's an episode of It's Always Sunny where Mac is upset that his gym teacher didn't find him attractive enough to molest him as a child and goes to seduce him as an adult. It's more believable than this story. Merritt chucks water at Honor, so Honor starts attacking her and Utah comes in and breaks it up. Cover her mouth, Utah yells at Sagan. Utah says this just as he clamps his hand over my mouth and nose, smothering me. Sagan is behind Honor now, covering her mouth and nose with his hand. What the hell are they doing? Trying to kill us? I can't breathe. Honor's eyes grow wide after several seconds and we're both struggling to get out of their grips while still refusing to let go of each other. I can't take another second. I can't breathe. Notice there's zero description of how not breathing feels. Laziness. What are you doing here? My father asks. I'm calling a family meeting, Utah says. My father shakes his head. Now's not a good time. Utah laughs under his breath and says, if you want me to wait for the perfect time to discuss kissing my little sister, we'll be waiting an eternity. We're having a family meeting. Tonight. Utah walks past my father and heads towards his bedroom. He slams the door so hard, I jump in my seat. I'm not sure that you get to call the shots here, weirdo. The only box of pizza that isn't ruined. It's ham and pineapple. Figures. Next time Honor and I fight on the kitchen table, try to salvage a box pepperoni, will ya? Sagan does that quiet laugh of his and shakes his head. He sits down across from me and pulls a box of ham and pineapple towards him. He pulls out a slice, takes a bite, and then with a mouthful he says, you're kind of a badass, Merritt. Not the ham and pineapple pizza mentioned. You genuinely are an abyss of personality if you debate about pineapple being on pizza. Who gives a fuck? She's not a badass, she's a dumbass. At the family meeting, Utah explains himself. I called it. I was 13, he says. Merritt was 12. And it's true, everything she said. But that's not who I am. I was a kid and it was stupid, and I've regretted doing it since the moment it happened. Then why did you do it? I snap. I'm shocked at the anger in my voice as I continue chipping away the polish on my thumb. I was confused, he says. My friends would come to school every day and talk about girls. We were all hitting puberty and our hormones were crazy, but I didn't care about the girls. All I could think about were the boys. I thought something was wrong with me. He pauses in front of me. I know he's looking down at me, wanting me to make eye contact with him. I can't. He eventually begins pacing again. I thought maybe if I kissed a girl it would fix me, but I was a kid and I didn't know the first thing about kissing or girls. All I knew was that there was one person I wanted to kiss, and according to society, I wasn't supposed to kiss Logan. I wasn't supposed to want to kiss Logan. I had written Logan a letter that day telling him I liked him. He showed everyone at his lunch table, then called me a... Can I say that in this context? I feel like, well, I shouldn't say it in the context of it being a slur, but in the context of him saying I didn't want to be queer, it would be the same as, I feel like, okay, so that, when we were walking out of the cafeteria, I was so upset after that. I didn't want to be queer. I didn't want to like Logan. I just wanted to be what I thought was normal. So that night, I didn't even think about the consequences of what I was doing. I was desperate to fix myself, so I made Merritt kiss me, hoping it would, I don't know, cure me. Okay, firstly, I love the implication here that if Utah was straight, he would have enjoyed kissing his sister. Love that. Brilliant. Hoover, if you rearrange the letters of sister, it spells resist. Secondly, I have met many gay men who struggled with their sexuality. None of them forced a family member to kiss them, though. Thirdly, and this is how low the bar is, I'd be more fine if they had both consented to doing it. Not a, slightly older guy coercing and forcing a girl into doing it. Fourthly, we're clearly moments away from it being justified, so I guess women should just always be the collateral damage to men, straight, gay, bisexual, who cares? What a mess this is. Utah says he was disgusted with himself and tried to make up for it, but Merritt says he never apologized or did anything for her. He finally does say sorry to her. He says he didn't say sorry before because he had hoped she'd forget about it. I've read books by authors losing their minds from syphilis that made more sense than this. Merritt, please, he says, his voice desperate. Please tell them I have never done anything even remotely inappropriate since that day. He looks over at Honor and stands up. You two, Honor, tell them, he says, waving towards my father. Honor nods and looks at my father. He's telling the truth, Dad. He never touched me. My father looked at me, and I nod too, but I can't speak yet. Too many emotions caught in my throat, but I can tell by the look on my father's face that he wants to make sure I'm okay with Utah moving back in. Everyone is looking at me now, even Utah. I nod, manage to choke out a quiet, I believe him. Is this peer pressure? So everyone is just like, okay, cool, moving on. Then afterwards, Utah tries to build bridges with Merritt. Did you really not know I was gay? I laugh. I didn't know what I thought. He bends down and puts the last of his letters in the box. Does it bother you? No, not at all. He nods, but doesn't look convinced. Then I remember he's probably thinking about the letter I wrote and all the hateful things I said about him. Utah, I'm serious. I don't care that you're gay. I know I said some mean things in that letter, but I was upset. I really am sorry for it. We were kids. I know that. I've just spent years building up a lot of animosity towards you. Then they kiss and make up. Just kidding. They do make up. Whatever. Over it. This is probably a terrible representation of LGBTQ issues, but it is exactly what I'd expect from the slop shoot that is co-host Creative Vision. Sagan draws a picture of Luck and he gets mad. Luck gets mad. Oh yeah, it's I didn't even laugh when I looked at it earlier, but it's like so much bigger. It's just in my face. Yikes. He does look like the kind of uncle that would touch his niece. Anyway, so how did we skip over Luck not wanting to bang Merritt because she looked like Moby, but he was fine railing Utah? Huh? And how is Barnabas fine with the brother of his current wife banging his son? Under his roof. I like the marquee, Sagan says, pulling my attention back to him. I glance out the window at the quote I had Utah put up. Not every mistake deserves consequences. Sometimes the only thing it deserves is forgiveness. Yes, Coho, let's trivialise a bit of non-consensual incest. When I write my Coho parody book, which I will this year, I'll say in that sentence that's there, that there's a word in there that is a word in my title. She's that predictable. Oh dear. Anyway, so Sagan gives Merritt a tattoo. Do you know anything about the Syrian refugee crisis? Hell yes, Hoover. Lecture us with something you've spent 5 minutes Googling. She does indeed lecture us about the Arab Spring and Bashar al-Assad for a few pages. I can't speak. I don't know what to say to him. I can't reassure him because there isn't anything reassuring about that story. And honestly, I'm embarrassed I didn't know anything about that. I see the headlines online in the paper, but I never understand any of it. It's never directly affected me, so I've never thought to even look into it. Coho, You're saying the small part out loud again. Sagan is separated from his family because they live in Syria, whilst he got shipped off to America to live with his grandparents, and he's not heard from them in 7 years. They were meant to come over and stay with him, but he doesn't know what happened to them. I feel like such an asshole, I whisper. My problems are nothing compared to what you've been going through. And I really do feel like an asshole. He read a letter I wrote complaining about my entire family and our trivial issues, and he doesn't even know if his family is alive. Congrats on making it about you, as I called it several pages ago. After all, the suffering of a person of colour must only be used to help the little white girl on her emotional quest. He tells her to keep the tattoos bandaged until the weekend, and she hasn't seen it, and she gave him complete creative control over it too. Chapter 14. Merritt now likes Utah again. She's also dropped out of school. Wolfgang is still lethargic, so Dad takes him to the vet. Also, Sagan works for Merritt's dad. I forgot what Merritt's dad does, so I don't really care. I hate that I have any sort of resentment in me after hearing what Sagan's going through, but for some reason, his issues haven't negated mine at all, and I hate that. I hate that I'm still emotionally affected by the poor choice of my parents when I should be lucky that I know they're alive. It makes me weak and petty. This is all very insincere. If you can't be sad because someone somewhere has it worse, then you can't be happy because someone somewhere has it better. Anyway, Wolfgang died on the way back to his home planet. He died of old age. I end the call and stare at my phone for a full 5 minutes before I move. I'm surprised, I'm sad. Anyway, the dad and Sagan get arrested and need to be picked up from jail. Chapter 15. They get picked up. They were arrested for desecration because they tried to bury the dog next to Pastor Brian. They then all bicker, and Honor called Dad a bad dad and husband, so he starts kicking gravel around in a tantrum. And then we have this. Utah looks agitated. Well, when you make poor choices, things don't usually turn out to be sunshine and roses, Dad. Maybe you should have thought about that before you cheated on Mum. My father takes several steps towards Utah. He rushes him fast enough that Utah walks backwards until he's pressed against the van. That's what I'm talking about. You all think you know everything. My father spins and takes several steps away from us. He brings his hands up to the back of his head and inhales several deep breaths. When he finally turns around, he's looking directly at me. Sagan puts a reassuring hand against my lower back. Do you want to know why the pills you stole were placebo pills? I nod because I've been dying to know since I found out. She isn't in pain, my father said. Your mother isn't in pain. She isn't recovering from cancer. She never even had cancer. He walks closer to us. Your mother never had cancer, he repeats. Let that sink in. Imagine this, but like in The Simpsons. I've written a book. That's good. It's a trashy romance. That's bad. It handles mental health and the Syrian refugee crisis. That's good. My name is Colleen Hoover. That's bad. There's a twist in the story. That's good. The twist is the mother is a terrible person. Can I go now? I can see Utah's fists clenched as he takes a sudden step towards our father. You better elaborate because I am 5 seconds away from punching you. Same. My dad laughs half-heartedly and drags a frustrated hand down his face. His hands then fall to his hips. Your mother, she has issues. She's had issues since the day she was in that car wreck. He's not yelling anymore. Now he just looks defeated. The brain injury, it changed her. She hasn't been the same. And I know you guys didn't know her before then, but his face contorts, so he looks up at the sky like he's trying to hold back tears. She was amazing. She was perfect. She was happy. He faces the other direction so none of us can see him cry. It's one of the saddest things I've ever seen. When he finally does turn around, he doesn't look any of us in the eye. He stares at the ground. Watching her change from the woman I fell in love with to someone entirely else was the hardest thing I've ever been through. Harder than trying to take care of 3 kids under the age of 2 by myself when her episodes would hit and she'd lie in bed for weeks at a time. It was harder than when she started inventing these illnesses in her head, convincing herself she was dying. Harder than when I had to have her committed and then lied to you all when I told you she was in hospital for the cancer she was convinced she had. He looks up at me, and then Honor. He finally rests his eyes on Utah. She's not the woman I married. And yes, I know it was terrible of me to get involved with Victoria, but it happened and I can't take it back. And yes, it's terrible now when your mother has rare moments of clarity, because when she does, she realizes what her life has become, what our marriage became. It's devastating to both of us. And it's all I can do to hold her and reassure her that I still love her, that I'll always love her. He blows up. So he still did cheat on her. That's what I'm getting from this. He still just did cheat on her. He blows out a shaky breath and wipes his tears away. Because I do love your mother. I always will. It's just, sometimes things don't turn out how you want them to. And even though I'm an atheist, there isn't a day that goes by that I don't thank God that I have a wife who understands that. Victoria has lived the past 4.5 years in a house with a woman that I'm still in love with. She doesn't question me when your mother needs me. Victoria doesn't correct any of you when you insult her and insinuate she's a homewrecker. He walks to the van and reaches inside for his jacket. I never told any of you the truth because I didn't want you to judge your mother. But I didn't cheat on your mother when she was dying of cancer. She was never dying. She's normal cheated on her then. She's not dying now. She's sick, yes, but not in the way that any of us can help her. He puts it on his jacket and zips it up. I'm walking home. I cackled all throughout that, by the way. It is hilarious writing. I actually love it. Coho has no idea what's interesting or important. Instead of writing about this man's guilt at finding a relationship after a devastating accident impacts his wife, we're treated to hundreds of pages of an unlikable teen pondering toaster tattoos. It's just magical. I love you guys. Oh no, it's happening. I'm Stockholming myself like I did with Stephanie Meyer. Took longer with Coho though. I do wonder though, what on earth Victoria is getting out of all of this. She lives in a house full of teenagers who hate her. She has a husband who simply has to fuck his ex-wife whenever she needs it. Is Victoria the ultimate cuck? I bet Hoover thinks that she's an absolute saint for being such a doormat. There is nothing about Barnaby that would make any of this worth it. So after this revelation, they decide to go back to the cemetery and bury Wolfgang with Pastor Brian as a way of family bonding time. Chapter 16. Luck is... Oh my God. Are you picking your nose? Luck wipes his fingers on his shirts and shrugs. You're so gross, Honor says. She glanced at me and mutters under her breath. I can't believe you almost had sex with him. Gross. And also he really does... I bet he does look like that picture that Sagan drew. So they dig up Wolfgang to rebury him next to the pastor, and Honor and Merritt hash it out about the whole dating terminally ill people quirk thing. They skim over it and then talk about Sagan. I pull my legs up and turn in my seat to face her. I feel so stupid saying this because I barely know him, but I felt like I loved him the first moment I laid eyes on him. That's why I've been so cranky lately, because I thought you were dating him, and I did everything I could to stay away from both of you. And now the more I get to know him, I care about him so much I can't stand it. He's all I think about, all I want to think about. It's so hard to breathe when he's near me, but it's also hard to breathe when he isn't. He makes me want to learn and change and grow and be everything he believes I can be. Good God, girl, stand up. Honor says that's how she felt about Kirk, the first dead guy. She shrugs and says, that's when I started talking to these guys in support groups online, talking to other kids like Kirk who were dying, and I would tell them about Kirk. I would make sure they knew how much I loved him, so when they got to heaven, they found him, they could say to Kirk, hey, I know your girlfriend, she sure does love you. She falls back against her seat and kicks her feet up on the dash. I don't think any of that anymore, but that's what started all of this. A few months after Kirk died, Trevor, one of the guys from the Dallas support group, was put in a hospice. I didn't love him like I loved Kirk, but I cared about him. And I knew when Kirk was dying that my presence brought him peace. So when Trevor needed that, I gave it to him. And it was nice. It made me feel good to know that I made his death a little bit more bearable for him. And then after Trevor, there was Misha. And now Colby. I know you think this is a terrible thing, like I'm taking advantage of people, or I'm somehow oddly attracted to guys with terminal illnesses. She looked at me pointedly. You're wrong, Merritt. I do it because I know in some small way I help them get through the hardest thing anyone should ever have to go through. That's all I'm doing. It makes me feel good to make them feel a little bit more peace with their death. But you make it seem so terrible and you constantly talk about how I need therapy. It's mean. You can be really mean sometimes. I haven't said a single word the entire time she's been talking. I've been listening, processing. I'm looking at my sister, my identical twin sister, and she's completely unrecognizable to me in this moment. For the first time in my life, I feel like I'm looking at a complete stranger. Like maybe all the opinions I've held about her all these years have actually been severe misjudgments. Well, duh! Of course she was doing it altruistically, duh! Not once when Honor was grieving Kirk's death did I ever emphasize with that. I didn't understand that type of love. We were so much younger then, and I honestly thought she was being dramatic. God, you are horrible, aren't you? Why are you crying about your dead boyfriend when you should be worried about me not having any hobbies? Anyway, they kiss and make up. Then they swap clothes to see if they can trick Sagan. They don't. I look up at him and he's smiling. I can see in that smile that he's glad Honor and I are pulling pranks on him. It means we made up, which is what he was hoping for. Ah yes, making up with your family for... checks notes. Some bloke. Afterward, they go check on their mother. We all try to hide what we're feeling, but things are different now. After knowing what our father has known all these years, I don't think we will ever look at our mother the same way. I'm not sure that's a bad thing. It's good, actually. I feel more sympathetic towards her right now than I ever have, and there's zero resentment there, now that I'm fully aware of her situation. I was crying with laughter that she had no sympathy for her when they thought she was being cuckolded during her cancer. Do you ever think Coho actually says these things back to herself, or does she just crank these turds out and flush them down to her publisher? Victoria 1 says that the mum says that she can hear the dog crying, and they're like, Wolfgang is gone, but then Utah finds 2 puppies, because it turns out it turns out Wolfgang was a girl. I grab one of the puppies from Utah. It's black and tiny and can't be more than a day or 2 old. What the heck, Honor says, immediately grabbing one from me. Surprisingly, my mother grabs the other puppy. Hey, how about you all stop grabbing the day-old puppies, you idiots? Hoover, you're allegedly a writer. Grabbing connotes Impatience, roughness, aggression, recklessness, something you don't want when handling babies or tiny animals. Like, this is the image that I'm getting in my head, the visual image you're giving me, because you're saying that they're grabbing these puppies like this. Like, grabbing aggressively. Why not use, she took the puppy, she held the puppy, I picked up the puppy. And if you wanted, I'm tired, is it adverbs? I'm tired, I don't know, I don't care. If you wanted to, connote gentleness, I took the puppy gently. I held the puppy softly. There are nicer words. Why don't you do this instead? No? I should go F myself? Okay, fine. The mum wants to keep the puppy, but they tell her she can't raise the dog in the basement, and maybe if she moved into the old house with Utah, which he's been renovating, she can keep one. She immediately perks up due to the puppies. Wow, who would have thought that's all she needed? We watch out the window as Anna takes a seat in the passenger seat of the van. But before Utah or Luck get inside, Utah grabs Luck's hands and they kiss briefly. It's kind of sweet if you can overlook the whole related by marriage thing. I know that, Merritt. I don't care if he's gay. I'm referring to whatever is happening between him and Luck. How am I supposed to explain to Moby that his uncle and his half-brother are a thing? Anyway, Dad and Merritt also kiss and make up. If someone told me last week that we'd be having this moment tonight, I'd have laughed at them and said it would be a miracle. Maybe it is. I'm facing the living room, my head pressed against my father's chest. I look up to Jesus and wonder if maybe he answered my prayer after all. It was just a few days ago that I got down on my knees in my bedroom and prayed for a new focus. Anyway, it's Saturday, so Merritt finally gets to look at her tattoo. It's just a bit of text on her back. And it says, with Merritt, not without. With. The planets are aligning. We're getting title wordplay with shit tattoos. Tears immediately cloud my vision as I run my fingers over it. It almost feels like a badge of maturity. And another person, another author who seems to think tattoos equal maturity. I look down at the check marks and it makes me wonder if this list is in any way accurate. I don't know a lot about mental health, but knowing that I might have inherited my mother's instability fills me with an unknown fear. Am I going to end up like her? Love the stigma, babe, but do you know what? Just try and stay out of traumatic car accidents then. It's not really a genetic thing, is it? Luck comes in and Merritt is all, wow, I'm depressed, I want to be normal. And he's like, what's normal, Merritt? Imagine it's SpongeBob being like, that's because that's how I wrote it. How quirky, Luck. Shut up. How about not having your life wrecked by poor mental health? Then everyone comes in and Sagan has lactose intolerance. Utah needs to wear sunscreen because he burns easy. And Honor wears contacts because her vision isn't great. None of these people are normal according to Luck. Huh? It's fine if you're suicidally depressed. I can't process dairy. These things are the same. Sagan is the last to leave my room. Right before he closes the door, he smiles and says, you were really easy to like today, Merritt. That's so condescending. I'm swooning. Sagan then comes back in topless and says, don't compare your stress to mine. Oh no, not the boy is wiser than me will mansplain my problems to me like that bloke, I forget his name already, in Hopeless. He squeezes my hand. I'm not sure at which point during this conversation I fell for him, but it happened. I may look like I'm casually sitting on a bed next to him, but metaphorically, I've melted at his feet. Between Luck and Sagan, the last couple of hours have been eye-opening. Thank goodness for men, huh? They'll solve all our problems. And what do you mean you fell for him during this conversation? You've been banging on about him the entire time. Chapter 17. A new picture from Sagan, unlocked. Ill. Anyways, Barnaby kicked Sagan out for sleeping in Merritt's bed last night. But he gets kicked out into their old house instead, which is boring. And yet there's no backlash for Luck banging his son like a marching band drum. Interesting. Then the dad grounds her for dropping out of school and tells her she has to go back and catch up. And also the whole family is going to therapy now. Finally, Coho characters get real help. It really is a miracle. God actually does exist. Then they all start being nicer to Victoria too as well. Then Sagan appears. Victoria's standing by with a smile on her face. He soaks it all up and then walks over to Honor and kisses her on the cheek. Good morning, beautiful. When he reaches me, he wraps his arms around me from behind in a much more intimate gesture than how he just said hello to Honor. Just have the threesome you'll clearly want. Why not? The police arrive to ask about the dog's grave being tampered with, but Barnaby tells them to go away, and that's that. Chapter 18. Moby wants to name one of the puppies Dick so they can be brothers. Sagan doesn't even hesitate. Tuck Bernie. We should call him Tuck. I smile. You bury me. So the puppies are now called Tuck and Dick. Anyway, I'm going to be sick. Instead, I pull his arm closer and trace another one of his tattoos. I touch the numbered coordinates. What's the location of these coordinates? I reach for my phone and roll onto my back. I open Google Maps and type in the coordinates. When the location pops up on my phone, I stare at it. I zoom in. I stare at it some more. But I'm confused. The other day you said those coordinates are from where you were born. Sagan lifts up onto his elbow and takes my phone out of his hands, setting it on the bed beside my head. He's leaning over me when he says, "That's not what I said. You asked me if it was where I was born. I said close to it. You said you were born in Kansas. These coordinates lead to our town square where you kissed me, in Texas. That's nowhere close to where you were born." "Exactly," he says, brushing the hair from my forehead. "It's not where I was born. It's where you buried me." I stare at him in quiet shock for a moment, trying to hide my smile, but it's hard when he's smiling right back at me. "That kiss was tattoo-worthy to you?" I'm so dumb. What a pile of saccharine dog shit. I guess the silver lining is that this book probably made Coho a pile of money while other worthier writers were ignored, like me. Thank you, Jesus, for nothing. Shit, that's what I forgot to say at the beginning of the video. Buy my ebook, The Prime Minister's Porky Mistress, on Amazon, $2.99. More coming out soon. They kiss. Sagan never sees his family again. The end. What a poignant exploration of the refugee experience in America. I think we all learned that Syria is a place and that people do live there. Incredible work once again, Coho. You nailed it like Luck nailed his nephew. If you would like more information on depression, please visit the Anxiety and Depression Association of America. Who do I contact if Coho's success makes me depressed? Probably Justin Baldoni. Acknowledgements. The thing I love most about writing is having the freedom to write what inspires me. You have too much freedom, actually. We should put some limits on the stuff you think you're qualified to write about. She says that Levy is her favourite child, and I got excited for a second, but then she said about her other boys too, which is boring. Then there's a how-to on using without merit for your book club. Hoover, my book club that I host only reads 19th century Russian novels that are a minimum of 700 pages long and frequently reduces one of my friends to tears and threats of leaving said book club every time we meet up. We are not the same. Topics and questions for discussion. Merrick collects trophies she hasn't won, buying a new one whenever something goes terribly wrong in her life. Is there anything you like to collect? Why? Honesty is a common theme and a big deal for Merrick throughout the novel. A big deal throughout the novel. How different would the... I felt like a bully then. I felt like I'm just shitting on... No, it's fine. She's a million. Oh, what are these pangs of consciousness? Oh, what's this about? Is it because she actually entertained me for 2 seconds in this book? It's all ready to be forgiven. I think I just thought of people in an actual book club, and they this is a young adult book, apparently, allegedly, though, so I don't think grown adults would be choosing this book. I mean, probably got the same reading age as her. Anyway, I just had a mental image of people sitting there and actually in their book club and then actually coming up with, and it hurt my heart a little bit in a weird way. I don't want to make fun of people being sincere. I want to make fun of people being silly like Coho, but I don't want to make fun of people being sincere. I say that. I'm not going to read the rest of them out because I think I think it's late and I'm tired, and as we've established, I'm going crazy from doing too many of these. And I feel like I'm on my period. That's literally all it is. Felt like I was going to get emotional for a second then, just imagining people in a... I have this idealized view of people sometimes where they're actually all quite innocent and just trying to get on, but I know that that's not the case because I meet people in real life all the time and everyone's a fucking arsehole. Everyone in England is horrible. But But I just had like this, imaginary image of, people like sincerely asking this question to like adults, grown adults just asking it, and it made me upset. It's the closest I've come to tears on this channel in like a year and a half. So regardless, if you read through the questions yourself on the screen, because I'm not going to, reduce myself to hormonal tears, this isn't even GCSE level English literature worthy questions. No, we gotta bring the snark back. I can't get a conscience now. After all the views I've got from this, after all the time I've spent dunking, no, I refuse. I'm not. Right, squash that down. Back to where it comes from. Enhance your book club. Have an open and honest discussion about oh that hurt. No, this is fine. I'm not making fun of this. Right, I'm not making fun of these two. The first one, open and honest discussion about mental health with members of your book club and or at home with your family and friends. Visit sites like Suicide Prevention, Lifeline.org, National Alliance of Mental Health Illness, Project Semicolon, to write love in our arms, to keep the conversation going. Number 3. Right, so those first two, very sincere. Talk to your family and friends more. Visit websites if you're unsure. That will have all this information and other resources. Really sincere. Enhance your book club, dealing with these really serious issues. Number 3. Learn more about Colleen Hoover. Check out her other books and find her on tour. Follow her on social media. Visit her at ColleenHoover.com. Yeah, buy more Coho books. That'll make you feel better. Good God. I'm done. The end. What a miserable... Oh, almost had a conscience there for a second. Almost had a conscience. What a miserable affair that was. That's all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to the video's sponsor, Love and Deep Space. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I make new videos whenever I feel like it, trying to be more frequent at the moment. And I guess I'll see you all next time. Check out my book on Amazon. A new one coming out soon. Check out my other social medias. I'm tired. I need to shut this shit down before I get like an actual conscience and get upset. See you all next time. Goodbye.